I'm cultivating immortality with the science of mortals. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1, Entering the Yellow Maple Valley. Nephew Luo, the Taiyu Mountains are ahead. It will take only a few minutes to reach our master's cave. Calm yourself down first, and don't be disrespectful in front of our ancestor. Liu Jing stood at the head of the flying boat and gently persuaded a plain-looking, fair-skinned boy. Uncle Liu, don't worry about him. He is just a fake spiritual root waste. Yes, Uncle Liu, please tell us what kind of person our ancestor is? Is he very fierce? Looking at these lively juniors, Liu Jing shook his head helplessly and said, "You will know when you see our master," and then stopped talking. Luo Hong, who was rejected by his companions, didn't care at all. He still lay on the side of the boat and carefully observed the 2 rows of oars sticking out of the spiritual boat. The spiritual boat is flying in the air, and there is no spiritual energy flowing on the oars. What is the use of these oars? Is this boat amphibious? Luo Hong couldn't figure out the reason, so she chose to give up temporarily, smoothed her hair, that was a little messy due to the wind, and arranged the Huangfeng Valley school uniform she had just received. It has been a year since the time travel. Luo Hong has long been accustomed to acting as a 14-year-old boy, and has completely accepted this strange yet familiar world. Don't mention the past. In this life, Luo Hong is a collateral disciple of the Li family of Yu State. He has a pseudo-spiritual root that lacks wood in the 5 element, and has been cultivating immortals since he was a child. This time, he was able to join Huangfeng Valley, one of the 7 major sects in the Yu State's cultivation world, because the ancestor of the clan, Li Huoyuan, served as an elder in the valley. He could recommend 5 young people in the key refining period to enter the valley every 10 years. Originally, with Luo Hong's qualifications, such an opportunity would not have come to him. After all, the Li family is a large family that has been passed down for hundreds of years. The direct and collateral clansmen combined are enough to fill a city. However, there are only 4 juniors with good qualifications in this round, so Luo Hong was selected. As a mortal fan, Luo Hong naturally knew who Liu Jing and Li Huoyuan were. Before boarding the ship, he asked the ancestor how many disciples he had now. Liu Jing replied that he had 7, and he was the 3rd oldest. After Han Lao Mo established his foundation, he became Li Huoyuan's 8th disciple, which means that Han Lao Mo is either still looking after the medicine garden, or has not yet entered the valley. After entering the valley, I will find an opportunity to go to the Bakao garden as soon as possible to inquire about it, so as to make future plans. Looking at the 4 boys and girls not far away who were talking and laughing, and did not know the dangers of the world of cultivation, Luo Hong kept reminding himself to follow the correct way of cultivation that Han Lao Mo had walked out of. Stability comes first in everything, and action is made after careful planning. Don't ask too much. Asking is hiding. Since the decision was made, it was time to act immediately. Luo Hong quietly stood behind the 4 friends and planned the fastest escape route. Li Huoyuan's cave was behind a curtain of water. It was uniquely decorated with birds singing and flowers blooming. It was full of spiritual energy. Luo Hong really enjoyed the grand scene of the immortals and had higher expectations for cultivating immortals. These are elixirs for strengthening the foundation and nourishing the essence. Each of you should take a bottle. After entering the valley, you should practice well and don't cause trouble. If any of you can build a foundation, I will accept him as a disciple. Okay, go. Li Huoyuan was indifferent to Luo Hong and others. After meeting them, he gave them elixirs and asked them to leave. There was also a hidden meaning in his words, that they should not use his name indiscriminately before building a foundation. The 4 young men were still a little afraid and aggrieved, but Luo Hong understood the reason. Li Huoyuan has been in the Jiandan stage for at least several decades. Even if there are only 5 nominations every 10 years, the number of descendants of his family who have been nominated to enter the valley has reached double digits. However, none of his disciples are from the Li family, which shows how disappointed he is with his own descendants. Meeting each other is just a routine matter. In the world of immortal cultivation where the strong prey on the weak, how can one enter the eyes of an immortal cultivator in the giant stage without building a foundation? Grandfather, since I learned that I can enter the Yellow Maple Valley to practice, I have been overjoyed every day and grateful for your kindness every night. Therefore, today I have the courage to offer the spiritual medicine that has been cultivated for generations in my family. It is an opportunity for an immortal cultivator in the early stage of key refining to meet a great cultivator in the giant stage. Luo Hong was prepared for this and persuaded the grandfather in charge in advance to let his grandson fight for his future. Well, filial piety is commendable, but ordinary spiritual medicines are useless for immortal cultivators in the giant stage, so you don't have to take them out. Li Huoyuan stroked his long beard lightly, his expression indifferent, and was indifferent to Luo Hong's rainbow fart. Old boy, you really don't release the eagle until you see the rabbit. Today I will let you know what the law of true fragrance is. Forgive me for my ignorance. I didn't know that even the hydrangea with a cultivation of 500 years. What did you say? A hydrangea with a cultivation of 500 years? Bring it to me. Li Huoyuan was extremely surprised. If it was really a hydrangea with a cultivation of 500 years, it would be of great use to him. The elixir made from this flower would not only help his cultivation, but also replenish the vitality damaged by decades of refining iron essence. Luo Hong did not dare to delay and took out the jade box from the storage bag. Li Huoyuan opened his right palm and the jade box was sucked into his palm. Good. Good. This medicine is very good. You are so delicate. Tell me what you want, and don't say nonsense, like you don't want anything. Li Huoyuan was very satisfied after checking the hydrangea, and he was much more enthusiastic towards Luo Hong in his words. To be honest with you, I want to ask for a few bottles of white lotus pills and a set of water-based spiritual energy gathering array plates. Luo Hong did not hide his request. It was impossible for a rabbit to let a lion owe him a favor. White lotus pills. Haha, you are quite like me. Take it. This is what you want. I will give you another 100 spiritual stones for you to drive the array plates. Li Huoyuan flicked his sleeves, and those spiritual objects entered Luo Hong's storage bag with spiritual light. After coming out of Li Huoyuan's cave, Liu Jing took Luo Hong and others to walk through the process of accepting disciples in Huangfeng Valley. Later, when assigning them duties, he deliberately kept Luo Hong to the end. Does my uncle have any instructions? Luo Hong was a little confused. Liu Jing hated evil, and was a rare upright person among the immortal cultivators. He should not covet what I just exchanged. It should be, not, junior brother Luo, I want to thank you this time. Master lost a bet decades ago, and was forced to spend a lot of energy to refine iron essence, which hurt his vitality. As a disciple, I'm always worried about this. Although junior brother does not know about this, it can be regarded as helping me to solve a problem. Liu Jing patted Luo Hong's shoulder and felt that this new disciple looked very pleasing to the eye. So that's what he wanted to say. In fact, I not only know this, but also know that your master will lose again soon. Junior brother, you are willing to sacrifice the elixir passed down from your family for cultivation. I believe your heart of Taoism is very strong. I, the uncle, specially left you a leisurely job so that you can practice. Come with me. This time, I really judged others by my own standards. After hearing what Liu Jing said, Luo Hong felt a little guilty and liked him at the same time. When he was blown by the cold wind when flying in the air, a flash of inspiration flashed in his mind and his eyes suddenly widened and brightened. Wonderful. This routine is most suitable for making friends with people who are extremely suspicious. I have learned it. Brothers, please collect and recommend it and brag in the comment section. Chapter 2: The First Law of Immortal Cultivation. The speed of a cultivator in the foundation building stage flying in the air is very fast. After a while, Luo Hong was brought to the sky above a small mountain by Liu Jing. This mountain is only about 70 to 80 meters high, with lush trees and green grass, full of vitality. It is surrounded by spiritual fields on all sides. It is early summer, and the rice seedlings in the fields are light and crisp, swaying in the wind, which makes people feel refreshed. This place is called Fanghua Garden, which is one of the few spiritual fields in the valley. You are practicing the basic water-based skills, and it is most suitable for you to serve as a spiritual rain master here. After Liu Jing introduced Luo Hong, he took out a book and a talisman from his storage bag. This book contains the various duties of a spiritual rain master, and you will need to study it carefully later. Here is also a communication talisman of mine. If you encounter a problem that you cannot solve, use your magic power to urge it, and you can let me know. Luo Hong respectfully took the book and talisman, feeling lucky to meet such a good person when he first entered the world of cultivation. Watching Liu Jing's back flying away, Luo Hong was determined to change his fate of death and disappearance. There was a unique courtyard on the hill, which would be Luo Hong's residence in the future. After packing up his luggage, Luo Hong opened the book left by Liu Jing and read it carefully. He didn't want to let the good job he had just got go to waste. Well, that's right. According to the book, the 100 acres of spiritual fields in Fanghua Garden are usually managed by mortals from the immortal family. I only need to activate the magic array in the main house to bring down spiritual rain every day. It's really very leisurely. Luo Hong nodded and put the book aside. With a move of his spiritual consciousness, the pen, ink, paper and inkstone stored in the storage bag appeared on the table. Smoothing the white paper, Luo Hong picked up the pen and wrote the two-word cultivation. Entering the Yellow Maple Valley, I officially set foot on the road of cultivation. There have been immortal cultivators in the human world for more than tens of thousands of years, but no one can explain clearly what cultivation is. Some predecessors left messages in books saying that cultivating immortality is to cultivate longevity. Some predecessors said that cultivating immortality is to seek freedom, and some predecessors said that cultivating immortality is to stand tall between heaven and earth. For tens of thousands of years, there have been countless talented and brilliant cultivators in the human world, but no predecessor has ever used scientific thinking to explore what cultivating immortality is. Now I'm here, and I say, cultivating immortality is a subjective action of cultivators using their own spiritual roots to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, and then condense it with exercises to increase their own mana limit. Therefore, the essence of cultivating immortality is to increase one's own mana limit. As for how to increase it, in the past year, Luo Hong has derived the first law of cultivating immortality, version 1.0, F equals 0.3 WPA, internal. In the mortal world, cultivators can sense the spiritual energy between heaven and earth through their spiritual roots, and can absorb the spiritual energy into their bodies. Since it exists, it is science. Luo Hong knows that he is not yet capable of studying the essence of spiritual roots, but it does not prevent him from studying the use of spiritual roots. According to his research, spiritual roots are equivalent to receivers that absorb spiritual energy, and spiritual roots of different qualities are receivers of different powers. That is, Luo Hong has a 4th grade spiritual root. In order to facilitate his own cultivation in the future, he defined the power of his receiver as 1. F is the increment of the upper limit of mana per unit time, day, that is, the speed of cultivation. In addition to the quality of the spiritual root, F is also affected by the concentration of spiritual energy in the place of cultivation, that is, the spiritual pressure, Pa. However, after Luo Hong conducted in-depth research, he found that the spiritual pressure of the outside world is not the direct influencing factor, but the spiritual pressure in the body of the cultivator. Luo Hong defined the concentration of spiritual energy in his body when he did not use any auxiliary means as 1 spiritual pressure. The first level of key refining is the starting point of cultivation. At this stage, the cultivator will cultivate his first ray of mana and achieve a breakthrough in the upper limit of mana from nothing to something. Luo Hong defined the increment of this first ray of mana as 1 mana. In the original owner's memory, he did not swallow any other pills, except the Bigu pill, when he first cultivated, and it took about 3 days to break through to the first level of key refining. Luo Hong then collected several sets of his own cultivation data, and then preliminarily derived the first immortal cultivation coefficient in history. 0.3. Luo Hong was not a mathematician in his previous life, and his derivation process was obviously not perfect, but he just wanted to use scientific thinking to help himself cultivate, and he was not obsessed with exploring the essential laws of the mortal world. That is probably something that only the Taoist can do. When Luo Hong initially obtained the first law of immortal cultivation, he began to verify its accuracy. As a time traveler, Luo Hong also has a golden finger, which he calls a personalized physical examination form, which is a bit like the character panel in the game, but not exactly the same. The main function of this golden finger is to display Luo Hong's current personal data, and will add or delete entries, and change the definition unit of the data as he wishes. Currently, it looks like this. Name, Luo Hong Realm, Key Refining Level 3, 4/4, Energy. 3 Mana. 7 Spiritual Awareness. 1 Spiritual Root Quality. 1 Meridian Strength. 20.2, the current limit of the meridians that can withstand the internal spiritual pressure. 1.2, stable, external spiritual pressure. 2, stable, countdown to the great perfection of key refining. 22,733 days, about 62 years. Now only these data are needed. Luo Hong will let it display these. In the past year, he used this golden finger to conduct experiments on controlling variables and finally obtained the first law of cultivation. However, the data collected in the past 10 days shows that the coefficient of 0.3 has a slight increase, which is estimated to be related to his upcoming breakthrough of the first small realm of key refining, and it may face modification, so Luo Hong said it is version 1.0. Back to the present, Luo Hong felt the spiritual energy in the room, which was much richer than his home in the past, and couldn't help but praise, it is worthy of being Huangfeng Valley, one of the 7 major sects. This place for ordinary disciples to practice is twice as good as the best places in the outside world. With my qualifications, I need to sit and practice to the great perfection of the key refining stage for 62 years without eating, drinking, or moving. The actual time required is definitely more than 100 years. No wonder the world looks down on the 4th grade spiritual roots. Generally, cultivators with 4th grade spiritual roots have no hope of building a foundation. Fortunately, I have successfully obtained what I want. Next, as long as the feasibility is verified, my cultivation will be able to make rapid progress for a period of time. Luo Hong understands the despair of the road ahead better than any cultivator with 4th grade spiritual roots in the world, but he has the confidence in his heart that surpasses all cultivators in the key refining stage. Just because he has insight into the secrets of cultivating immortals, there will always be a way to successfully build a foundation. With the array plate, it was very simple to set up the spirit gathering array. When Luo Hong placed 4 low-level spirit stones into the array plate, a blue spiritual energy light curtain was quickly generated, and finally formed a hemispherical spirit gathering space with a diameter of about 2 feet. The spirit gathering array began to operate, and the spiritual energy of the nearby heaven and earth swarmed in. After being filtered by the light curtain, only the water spiritual energy could enter the spirit gathering space. Luo Hong did not practice. After sitting in meditation and waiting for 2 hours in the spirit gathering space, the spiritual pressure inside finally stabilized. The external spiritual pressure is about 8.0, and the effect is better than I thought. Ancestor Lee did not cheat me. It's a pity that such a good spirit gathering array is a bit wasted on me. After all, I should not have many opportunities to use its spirit gathering function. Luo Hong held a low-level spirit stone in each hand and slowly exerted force. Chapter 3, Spiritual Pressure Cultivation Method. The spirit stone broke, and the spiritual energy inside it leaked out, but because of the spirit gathering array, it was bound in the spirit gathering space, and the spiritual pressure in the space slowly rose. When the 12th spirit stone was broken into powder in Luo Hong's hand, the spiritual pressure in the spirit gathering space reached 20.0, and Luo Hong's internal spiritual pressure also rose to 4.8. At this time, Luo Hong stopped taking out new spirit stones. He began to check the situation of the spirit gathering array. At least 10 years of cultivation in the future will depend on it, and it must not be lost. After stopping absorbing spiritual energy, the speed of consumption of spirit stones on the array disk dropped by 90%. When the spirit gathering array is running at full power, 4 spirit stones can only support about 5 days, and in this standby state, I only need to replace the spirit stones once every 2 months. Masterling guy who has a salary of 2 spirit stones per month, which is just enough to maintain the spirit gathering array. After confirming again and again that there was no mistake, Luo Hong sat cross-legged. The preparations were done, and the next moment was to witness the miracle. Huanglang pills are the most common pills for strengthening the body and nourishing the essence during the key refining period. After taking them, the internal spiritual pressure can reach about 5.0, and the medicinal effect can last for 6 hours. There are 20 pills in the bottle, given by Li Huoyuan. The market price is about 20 lingxi, but it is generally difficult to buy. Huanglang pills are known for their mild medicinal properties, but Luo Hong had a solemn expression when swallowing them. The pill tasted slightly bitter, and then the medicinal power was released, and Luo Hong's internal spiritual pressure suddenly soared. 5.0, 10.0, 15.0, still rising. The concentration of spiritual energy in the meridians became higher and higher, and Luo Hong gradually felt a little bloated and painful. Fortunately, when the internal spiritual pressure reached 20.0, the excess spiritual energy finally found an outlet for venting, and spread out from all parts of Luo Hong's body. Success. Luo Hong tried his best to control his excitement, silently reciting the formula of the practice, and let the spiritual energy in the meridians circulate. After one cycle after another, these spiritual energy were constantly refined into pure magic power. The mana flowed into the already full danshan, gradually expanding it and making it stronger. The refined spiritual energy was simultaneously filled with medicinal power, always maintaining Luo Hong's internal spiritual pressure unchanged. The stability of the internal spiritual pressure controlled the volatilization of the medicinal power. Luo Hong's round of practice lasted for a whole day, which increased his mana limit by 6 points in one breath. Not only did he successfully break through to the 4th level of key refining, but he was also not far from the 5th level of key refining. This practice speed has exceeded that of a cultivator with a 2nd grade spiritual root. Simply using the internal and external spiritual pressure, Luo Hong bypassed the problems that plagued countless cultivators with pseudo-spiritual roots. If the spiritual root is not good, the spiritual pressure will make up for it. There is not much wisdom contained in this, but because there is no scientific thinking to guide it, it has been hidden in the blind spot for tens of thousands of years. This method of cultivation must not be passed on to others, otherwise it will inevitably lead to a surge in the price of elixirs such as the yellow dragon pill. With the huge number of immortal cultivators in the key refining stage, they may even exterminate the spiritual medicines used to refine these elixirs, and it may even cause a bloody storm that sweeps across the entire continent. Alas, this happiness can only be borne by me alone. In fact, this is not the most perfect immortal cultivation system. After all, it is subject to the control of elixirs. The limit of a yellow dragon pill is to increase the upper limit of mana by 6 points. Even if I continue to strengthen my meridians and increase the internal spiritual pressure that I can withstand, it can only shorten the time it takes to refine the medicinal power. Only by using elixirs with stronger medicinal power can I increase in the upper limit of mana. If I can study more of the mysteries between external and internal spiritual pressures, I can use the endless spiritual energy of heaven and earth to soar into the sky through the spiritual pressure cultivation method. The ability of immortal cultivators in the god transformation stage to control the spiritual energy of heaven and earth is a good entry point. How about contacting Xiangzili? Luo Hong was just a little tempted when the figure of Han Lao Mo retreating behind the crowd floated in front of him. No, I can't get carried away by a momentary success. Stay. After finishing the practice, the spiritual pressure in the spirit gathering space remained basically unchanged. Luo Hong got up and went to the main house and activated the small rain cloud formation step by step to bring down sweet rain on the more than 100 acres of spiritual fields under the mountain. The raining will last for an hour. Fortunately, Luo Hong's cultivation has just reached a new level, otherwise he would have to complete it in 2 times. After finishing the work, Luo Hong meditated in the main house to restore his empty danshan. After the danshan was filled again, Luo Hong did not rush to enter the spirit gathering formation to take drugs and practice, but used his magic power to boil some hot water for a bath. Taking off the school uniform of Huangfeng Valley, Luo Hong revealed his fair skin, as delicate as a woman. Sitting in the bathtub, Luo Hong couldn't help but groan comfortably. After closing his eyes and enjoying it for a while, he used the control of objects to summon the storage bag and took out the white lotus pill he exchanged from Li Huoyuan yesterday. White lotus pill is a very unpopular pill. It cannot be used to increase cultivation, and it is not for oral use, but for external use. Luo Hong threw a white lotus pill into the bath water. The white pill melted when it came into contact with water, and the fragrance of white lotus wafted out in an instant. Luo Hong took a long breath, submerged the whole person in the water, and began to use the secret method to absorb the medicinal power. This method is called Ice Skin and Jade Bone method, which is a low-level body training method widely circulated among female cultivators. White lotus pill is a necessary condition for practicing Ice Skin and Jade Bone method. It is not expensive, but because its main ingredient is extremely rare, it is more difficult to buy than yellow dragon pill. Female cultivators practice Ice Skin and Jade Bone method mainly for its beauty and skincare effects, but because there are many immortal cultivation methods with the same effect, female cultivators do not value this method. Li Huoyuan has so many white lotus pills in his hands, most likely because he has been searching for them from all over the place in the past to please his double cultivation partner. As a male cultivator, Luo Hong practiced the Ice Muscle and Jade Bone method not to seduce Han Lao Mo, but to improve the strength of his own meridians. Through comparative tests of many low-level body refining secrets, Luo Hong concluded that the Ice Muscle and Jade Bone method is the best among all low-level body refining methods in terms of improving the flexibility of meridians. The Ice Muscle and Jade Bone method has a total of 12 levels. At present, Luo Hong has only practiced the first 2 levels, and the strength of the meridians has increased by more than 3 points. Obviously, the prospects of this method are very promising. Time flies like a white horse passing by. In a blink of an eye, Luo Hong has been worshipping in Huangfeng Valley for more than a month. He had eaten all the Huanglang pills yesterday. Now Luo Hong's cultivation has reached the 7th level of key refining, and the Ice Muscle and Jade Bone method has also broken through to the 4th level with sufficient accumulation of white lotus pills. His skin looks whiter and tenderer. Without the help of Huanglang pills, with Luo Hong's qualifications, sitting and practicing is a waste of time. Using the gathering spirit array is even more unprofitable. The loss of spirit stones can be used to buy Huanglang pills, and the income can be increased by more than 10 times. Excuse me, Master Ma. Your spiritual herbs are so well planted. I have found a treasure this time. Luo Hong came out of the herb garden with a smile on his face. He took the opportunity to buy the raw materials for the yellow dragon pill to inquire about it. Han Lao Mo was not here, and the next Tane and small meeting will be held in 3 years. Humph. You have a good eye. You can come often in the future. Master Ma was very satisfied with Luo Hong's straightforwardness in the transaction. Of course. I will change my surname if I don't trample your door to pieces. Luo Hong thought so. Chapter 4. The Li Sisters. At the 7th level of key refining, the data collected by Luo Hong was enough to calculate the mana required to break through the subsequent levels. In fact, the mana requirements of each level of key refining have always increased regularly. From 1 to 7, they are 1, 2, 4, 864. If Luo Hong wants to cultivate to the great perfection of key refining, he is still short of the upper limit of 8000 mana, which is equivalent to 1333 Huanglang pills. Before making friends with Han Lao Mo, it was basically an impossible task to obtain this number of Huanglang pills. Therefore, Luo Hong just wanted to make his cultivation level exceed the 9th level of key refining in 3 years, so that he could make friends with Han Lao Mo as a senior brother. By the way, he had to find time to learn the 5 element spells and replace Wu Feng as Han Lao Mo's spell teacher. In order to refine 10 spiritual medicines for Huanglang pills, Luo Hong paid 50 low-level spirit stones The price was slightly higher than the market price by 1 or 2, but it was a good deal for Luo Hong to leave a good impression in Master Ma's heart. It's a pity that Master Ma has to make a furnace of elixirs for himself recently. Otherwise, with his level of elixirs, even if I have a few more spirit stones, I will have to ask him to make huanglang pills for me. Luo Hong flew to the land of black fire on the green leaves. Of course, he didn't want to make elixirs by himself. How could he afford to ruin this family without the heaven-holding bottle? He went there to visit a senior sister whom he had known in the clan for a long time. The fire in the land of black fire was strong, and no plants grew. If it weren't for the earth fire that could help with elixirs, this place would definitely be a bad place that no one would want to come to. These spiritual medicines of junior brother are of excellent quality. I think they can increase the chance of success. However, senior sister, I can only guarantee that 3 furnaces will succeed out of 10 furnaces. Moreover, for each furnace that is refined, no matter how many pills are divided, I will take 2. I wonder if junior brother can accept it? Li Ziaoan checked the spiritual medicines brought by Luo Hong and proposed a preferential treatment she said for her family. Sister, don't belittle yourself. With your alchemy skills, you can't have less than 50% success rate in refining low-level pills like huanglang pills. Luo Hong knew the ability of this short round-faced sister. She is now the top alchemist of the Li family in Huangfeng Valley. She refines countless pills for the family and the sect every year. Huanglang pills are not unpopular pills. She can definitely make them with ease. Ha, you actually found out so much. It seems that I can't scare you away. But have you really thought it through? You want to use your only chance to ask me to refine pills on these huanglang pills. Li Ziaoan curled her lips. She was a little helpless and unhappy. She didn't want to refine huanglang pills without any novelty, let alone refine 10 furnaces in one go. Junior brother, you have thought it through very clearly. Thank you for bothering me. Luo Hong bowed. Is this opportunity valuable? In 3 years, I will be able to pie the future Shianden master, and you will only have this chance to show your ability. Li Ziaoan's shoulders slumped, and she immediately put on a look of despair. Just as she was about to wave her hand to tell the annoying pretty boy in front of her to get out, she heard noisy shouting from the door. Sister, I found out where the Washan mountain on the ancient map is. A junior sister who was the same age as Luo Hong ran into the lobby excitedly, with 2 blushes on her innocent face, making her look particularly cute. King, stop making trouble, there are guests. Li Ziaoan preached, but her eyebrows were full of smiles, and it was obvious that she loved her sister very much. It's you. Hey, how come you have cultivated to the 7th level of key refining? Li King entered the sect together with Luo Hong, and she had a deep impression of Luo Hong, who was sent by the clan to make up the numbers. You are such a shameless girl. When you first entered the sect, you were all at the 3rd level of key refining. It was only because you were addicted to playing with your fellow disciples and neglected to practice that you broke through to the 5th level of key refining a few days ago. Junior brother Luo's cultivation level is far higher than that of his peers today because of his diligence. If you are jealous, just learn from him. Haha, senior sister, you are too kind. I just take drugs and take a bath every day, which is not considered to be very diligent. Humph, I don't want to learn from him. Sister, he is just a waste with fake spiritual roots. How can he compare with his qualifications? Li King's words were 7 parts of dissatisfaction and 3 parts of jealousy. Junior brother Luo, is what King said true? As a fellow cultivator in the key refining stage, Li Ziaoan could not see through Luo Hong's spiritual root qualifications at a glance. Haha, that's true. Luo Hong sneered in his heart. This is indeed the world of cultivation, where the weak are the prey of the strong. Fake spiritual roots deserve to be called waste. In an instant, Luo Hong's good impression of the 2 sisters, because of their beautiful appearance, disappeared. Sister, look, he admitted it. If he hadn't cheated by using the spirit gathering array given to him by the ancestor, I wouldn't have lost to him. Li King said angrily, with her hands on her hips. I see, junior brother Luo, can I borrow your spirit gathering array? If you agree, I can help you refine these 10 furnaces of yellow dragon pills for free and pay some spirit stones. Li Xiao's offer was good, but Luo Hong didn't want to accept it. It's impossible for a cultivator with a 4th grade spirit root to break through from the 3rd level of key refining to the 7th level of key refining within a month just by using the spirit gathering array, even with the elixir. Li Xiao and the others now attributed the reason to this because they had never used the spirit gathering array and didn't know its specific effects. But when they experienced it themselves, they would definitely feel something was wrong and want to explore the secret of my fast cultivation speed. So, I would rather not earn spirit stones than take this risk. Luo Hong temporarily shirked the offer by saying that she would use it herself. She didn't refuse directly because the yellow dragon pill had not been refined yet. Okay, then senior sister, I'll wait for a while. According to past experience, no one would offend an alchemist easily. Li Xiao felt that borrowing the spirit gathering array was a done deal, and she was pleased and decided to seriously make pills for Luo Hong. By the way, junior brother Luo, in a few days, Xia King and I will go out of the valley to practice. Are you willing to go with us? Practice? Luo Hong remembered the Gutu and Washan that Li Xia King shouted when she came in, and it was as if she saw a big blood red danger above Li Xiao's head, and she immediately backed off in her heart. Are you kidding? I would go out to practice without a talisman or a real treasure in my hand? No way, sister. I don't want it. Luo Hong gave Li Xia King a big thumbs up in his heart and immediately said, senior sister, don't let me hurt your sisterly relationship. Compared with going out for training, I prefer to practice in the valley. After leaving the Zhuanhou land, Luo Hong immediately flew to the market opened by the Huangfeng Valley. He planned to exchange most of the remaining spirit stones on hand for materials for refining talismans. How can people in the world of immortal cultivation not have a skill to earn spirit stones? Common side jobs for immortal cultivators include refining medicine and equipment, taming beasts and spiritual plants, and making formations and talismans. Luo Hong chose to make talismans after careful consideration. According to the principle of talismans, I should be able to find a loophole. Chapter 5: The beginning of talisman making. There are 3,000 great ways, and all of them can lead to immortality. The same is true for these side jobs in the world of immortal cultivation. In essence, there is no difference between high and low, but there is a huge difference in the difficulty of getting started in the early stage. Alchemy and refining tools. One is to seize the essence accumulated by spiritual medicine for thousands of years, and the other is to obtain the treasures of heaven and earth or the scales and claws of monsters. The materials consumed are both expensive. If there is no sect family as a backing, these two side jobs are not worth thinking about. Taming beasts and spiritual plants. The two seem to be very different, but in fact, the core is the same. Whether it is cultivating spiritual beasts or planting spiritual medicines, as long as you follow the rules, there is basically no risk of failure. It's just that the benefits come too slowly, and the time price paid by the immortal cultivators is too heavy. In fact, it is more suitable for the immortal cultivation forces that own territory. As for the formation and the making of talismans, the former is profound and difficult to understand. Although the unit price of various materials required is not expensive, the amount used is huge. Fortunately, even if the formation fails, only a few of these materials will be damaged, otherwise playing the formation will cost more spiritual stones than refining alchemy and refining tools. In fact, Luo Hong was very interested in the art of formations. After all, among the 6 side jobs, formations were the most intuitive way to show the truth of heaven and earth, and they also required the lowest level of cultivation for the practitioners. Even a cultivator in the key refining stage might be able to comprehend a formation that would amaze an old monster in the nascent soul stage. The reason why Luo Hong chose to make talismans as a second choice was because he was short of money. Mr. Lu Xun once said, "First fill your stomach, then pursue art." After entering the market, Luo Hong went straight to the Xiangang building, which was a large store that specialized in selling the output of various side jobs of cultivating immortals. It was also the place where cultivators purchased raw materials for various side jobs. The 7th level of key refining was still too low in the world of cultivating immortals, and Luo Hong did not have any powerful treasures on him, so although this market was controlled by Huang Fenggu, he still set the 6-word policy of quick in, fast out, and fast back. Like most large shops, the Xiangang building was divided into 2 floors. The downstairs was a place for selling ordinary goods, while the upstairs were where expensive fine goods and even treasures were stored. This way, cultivators with different levels of cultivation can be separated, so that both sides can choose products more freely. Luo Hong had no intention of going to the 2nd floor. He just glanced at the dazzling array of products on the 1st floor. He went straight to the waiter and told him what he wanted. "Sir, are you sure you want 2,000 pieces of yellow talisman paper, but only a can of Moyan frog monster blood? That can of monster blood can only be used to make about 20 talismans. All cultivators buy talisman making materials and sets." The young disciple of Huangfeng Valley bought a storage bag of the cheapest yellow talisman paper, but only a little bit of the best water-based talisman ink. The talisman paper and talisman ink are very different in both quantity and quality. The waiter of Xiangang building was really confused by Luo Hong's move. "That's right, and get me another good talisman pen." Luo Hong took out more than 40 spirit stones and piled them into a small pile on the counter. That day, the clerk of the building stopped talking and quickly prepared the goods that Luo Hong wanted. After checking that everything was correct, Luo Hong did not stop and left the no-fly zone of the market without stopping. He used the Qingai magic weapon to go straight to Fanghua Garden. What Luo Hong did not know was that in the dense forest hundreds of meters behind him, a man in yellow had been following him since he left the market. Seeing that Luo Hong's magic weapon was gradually flying away, the man in yellow showed an extremely unwilling look on his face. He was not without the idea of continuing to chase, but after thinking it over again and again, he finally did not do it. Having lost the prey, the man in yellow did not leave, but meditated on the spot. About an incense stick later, a big man with a face full of flesh came panting. "Where is the fat sheep? Where is the fat sheep? Huh, you came so slowly. Even if there was a fat sheep, it would have been in the sheepfold long ago." The man in yellow was in a bad mood, and his tone of voice seemed a little aggressive. "Sir, I rushed here as soon as I received your communication talisman. Why didn't you notify me earlier? Do you want to take all the money for yourself?" The big man didn't tolerate the yellow-clothed man's bad habits. He pointed at the yellow-clothed man's nose and yelled, "Who knows if that kid's father or mother died at home?" He ran away faster than a rabbit. He really left the spiritual stone and ran away. The yellow-clothed man became more and more depressed. It was because he felt that Luo Hong was very experienced that he didn't take the risk to intercept him alone. Has our business been discovered by others? Otherwise, how could that kid be so vigilant? Although the big man looks rough, he is a thoughtful person. Not only did he not quarrel with the yellow-clothed man, but he also considered the business. The man in yellow was startled when he heard this. After a moment of silence, he nodded and said, "It's possible. We have been here for many years to kill lone cultivators. Although we are very cautious every time, we will reveal some flaws over time." The big man said, "The Tainan small meeting will be held again in 3 years. That's a big deal. I think we should go there in advance to check it out." "That's right. It's better to do it today than to wait for a day. Let's go." Both of them were decisive and made a decision in a few words. Making talismans is the cheapest of the 6 side jobs. It only takes a piece of talisman paper, a few points of talisman ink, and a few points of mana to make a talisman. The cost of 10 times is often less than 1 spirit stone. Compared with the alchemy, that costs at least more than 10 spirit stones every time the furnace is opened. It is a world of difference. It is precisely this cheapness that makes most of the cultivators who are short of money have the idea of making talismans to earn spirit stones. Many of them put it into action, but most of them end up with a huge loss. It was because it was extremely difficult to learn how to make a talisman. It was said that without tens of thousands of attempts, even the lower level talismans could not guarantee a success rate above the passing line. In the spirit gathering array, Luo Hong had made preparations for making talismans. The yellow talisman paper spread out in front of him was made from the rhizomes of the Spirit Valley, so it was so cheap that one spirit stone could buy 100 pieces. Price represents quality. Good talisman paper can increase the success rate of making talismans, so beginners generally use green talisman paper for 1 spirit stone per dozen. Yellow talisman paper is used to save costs when cultivators start to make a large number of talismans after they have mastered a certain talisman making technique. The so-called talisman is to use talisman paper as a carrier to store the magic power of the cultivator, and when using it, this part of the magic power is converted into a magic weapon through the lines on the talisman paper. Y is a prerequisite for refining the water bullet talisman. To learn the water bullet technique, why can good talisman paper increase the success rate of talisman making? What is the fundamental reason why the talisman paper will spontaneously combust and be damaged after the talisman making fails? All the talisman makers in the world of cultivation use an empirical approach to these problems. It's not that they don't have the ability, but they simply ignore the past. Is there anything else to say about such a simple question as 1 + 1 = 2? If you don't know the water bullet technique, you can't make a water bullet talisman. Don't you have master to teach you? Good talisman paper can increase the success rate, otherwise why is it so expensive? You have failed to make a talisman and still want the talisman paper to be good. You are dreaming. I originally wrote this book to cheer myself up, but I didn't expect that there would be living brothers supporting it. I'm in tears. I have nothing to repay you, so I can only update twice a day in the future. In addition, I want to ask whether Han Li cultivated spiritual power or mana. I can't remember clearly and I don't have extra time to check it out. After all, this is a fan fiction, so we should follow the original work if we can. I hope some readers can tell me. Thank you. Chapter 6. Enlightenment from the study of the talisman. The difference between yellow talisman paper and green talisman paper is only the amount of mana they can hold. Yellow talisman paper can hold less mana, while green talisman paper can hold more mana. Therefore, the more mana in the talisman paper, the higher the success rate of making talismans. Luo Hong muttered to himself while writing his words on paper with a pen in his hand. It was Luo Hong's habit to think about problems in this way. He felt that it would make his thoughts clearer. What determines the mana capacity is the material of the talisman paper. The main difference between the rhizome of the spiritual valley and the spiritual talisman grass is the spiritual energy they contain. The rhizome of the spiritual valley has less spiritual energy, while the spiritual talisman grass has more spiritual energy. Therefore, it is the amount of spiritual energy in the material that determines its mana capacity. Since it is related to the amount of spiritual energy, it is mostly related to the internal spiritual pressure. Luo Hong stood up and came to the outside of the spirit gathering array, slowly pouring mana into a piece of yellow talisman paper between his fingertips. When the mana broke through the endurance limit of the yellow talisman paper, many parts of the yellow talisman paper were damaged and quickly burned. Oh, it seems that the mana broke through the restraint of the talisman paper, which is the direct cause of the talisman paper burning. Looking at the current physical examination data, Luo Hong consumed about 3.5 mana. Returning to the spirit gathering array, Luo Hong repeated the previous action. This time, the yellow talisman paper obviously lasted longer. In the end, when the talisman paper spontaneously combusted, Luo Hong infused a total of 15 mana. From the outside to the inside, the external spiritual pressure increased by 10 times, but the mana capacity only increased by a little more than 4 times. It seems that the talisman paper has a limitation similar to the strength of the meridians. It is impossible to infinitely increase the mana capacity of the talisman paper by infinitely increasing the external spiritual pressure. Because it is impossible to observe the internal spiritual pressure of the talisman paper, Luo Hong cannot establish a complete mathematical model, but this experiment has shown that the mana capacity of the talisman paper can be significantly increased by increasing the external spiritual pressure. So now I just need to figure out why the increase in mana capacity can increase the success rate of making talismans, and I can make use of the results of this experiment. Luo Hong recalled the principles of making talismans described in the book. Principle 1. When making a talisman, it must be done in one go, from the first stroke to the end of the last stroke. The talisman pen must not leave the talisman paper, otherwise it will fail immediately. Principle 2. When making a specific talisman, you must visualize the process of casting the corresponding spell in your mind, so that the flow of mana at the tip of the pen is close to the state of casting. As for the specific process of making talismans described in the book, it is: Step 1. Put down the pen. At the moment of putting down the pen, the mana is poured from the talisman pen into the talisman paper, and most of it is confined near the tip of the pen. Step 2. Outline. Drag the tip of the pen to outline the talisman with mana. Step 3. Put down the pen. When lifting the pen, take back the remaining mana. Confining the mana near the tip of the pen will inevitably cause local high pressure, and the talisman ink will inevitably play a buffering role, otherwise the talisman paper will not be able to withstand it. But now I have a high amount of external spiritual pressure to assist, so can I not use the talisman ink for buffering? Of course, this does not mean that talisman ink is not needed when making talismans. The material of the talisman ink not only determines its buffering effect, but also determines its mana flow ability, and the talisman ink also has the function of outlining the talisman pattern. However, the mana flow ability will only be reflected when the talisman is activated. If I don't consider the material, only consider leaving marks, and only consider it as practice without considering use, can I not? Luo Hong's mind flashed with inspiration, and his divergent eyes gradually focused on the ink in the inkstone. Theoretically, there is no problem. Repressing the desire to try it immediately, Luo Hong began to think about the most headache-inducing problem for talisman makers in talisman making. What the hell is it to make the mana flow of the pen tip close to the state of casting? This is the most mysterious problem in talisman making. The visualization method popular among talisman makers now is to rely on feelings, and the process of failure is the process of finding feelings. What's even more terrifying is that this feeling may vary from person to person, because when those famous talisman masters teach their disciples, there is nothing special about it, which means that the feeling found by the master cannot be directly copied to the apprentice. The process of a cultivator casting a spell is to transform his own magic power into a specific form of spiritual energy, after passing through a specific meridian circuit. Water bullet technique. A fist-sized water ball appeared at Luo Hong's fingertips, and he recalled the feeling of casting the spell just now. The magic power surged from the danshan, passed through a large meridian on the arm, and other two small meridians on the 2 fingers, and finally these magic powers turned into water balls. The water bullet technique is a simple spell that only uses 3 meridians. These 3 meridians are straight and not complicated. To simulate them, there is no need for complex runes that make people dizzy. Through the process of cultivation and spell casting, it is obvious that the meridians act as a processing plant assembly line. The spiritual energy flowing through the meridians, where the skills are running, is processed into mana, and the mana flowing through the meridians, where the spells are running, is processed into spells. In other words, the cultivators believe that they have seen the whole picture of the meridians with their spiritual consciousness, but in fact they only see the conveyor belt on the assembly line. The meridians also hide the real world. Luo Hong suddenly had this thought, and suddenly felt his body and mind clear, and then a mighty power of heaven pressed down from his head. Luo Hong's spiritual consciousness was engulfed by the power of heaven without any resistance, and in an instant he entered the arm meridian belonging to the water bullet technique, and his mana also involuntarily entered it, and started to run. At this moment, the speed of mana flowing in the meridians was slowed down by hundreds and thousands of times. Luo Hong saw the natural runes made of flesh and blood on the inner wall of the meridians glowing with silver light. They were like workers on an assembly line, cooperating exquisitely to reshape the mana group. Luo Hong's state at the moment was also very strange. Facing such an abnormal situation, he was not panicked at all. He felt neither happy nor sad, as if he was in the legendary state of forgetfulness. Luo Hong was infatuated with the silver rune. He didn't know how long it had passed before his consciousness was suddenly bounced back to the Niwen Palace, and all his emotions and thoughts returned. Looking at the water ball on his fingertips, Luo Hong felt that it was so natural. Is this the epiphany described in ancient books? It's really mysterious. My consciousness just seemed to be connected to an extremely large system. Could it be the way of heaven in the human world? However, Mr. Luzon once said, there is no perfect system in this world. If the way of heaven is similar to the system, wouldn't there be loopholes to exploit? With this thought, Luo Hong suddenly felt his scalp tingling, and bursts of muffled thunder came from the sky. Damn it. Boss, I was wrong. The great terror between life and death almost scared Luo Hong to pee, and he quickly emptied all the thoughts that shouldn't have. It took a long time for Luo Hong to calm down after the thunder subsided. After hesitating for a while, he shouted loudly, I want to defy the heaven. The sky was still as blue as before, and the wind was still as light as before. After this test, Luo Hong basically understood what happened just now. I just finished my epiphany, and before I lost the connection with the heaven, I had evil thoughts. It's like the big boss just gave me a bonus, but I shouted that I wanted to rebel. The end result would be that I would be fired on the spot. Oh, I'm so stupid. How could I rebel against the boss in front of him? Of course, I have to wait until the boss leaves before I can do this kind of thing. Don't blame me for being a bad person, just blame the bonus given by the boss for being too good. Chapter 7. Simple mode of talisman making. In the sea of consciousness, 6 silver runes were floating up and down. Luo Hong could not fully understand them, but he was sure that they were the foundation of this world, and their status was equivalent to the atoms that constituted all matter. Taking out a finished water bullet talisman given by the family, Luo Hong could see the traces of the 6 silver runes from the complex runes at a glance. Although it became a little more difficult to change to a water shield talisman, he could still distinguish the silver runes. Luo Hong immediately realized that this ability was the biggest gain of his enlightenment this time. This meant that the talisman path summarized by the predecessors of the cultivation world after tens of thousands of years of experience would become his food, helping him to quickly master a large number of silver runes. It was not clear what benefits this would bring to Luo Hong's future cultivation, but it was certain that he had entered the simple mode in terms of talisman making. Spreading the yellow talisman paper, Luo Hong dipped some ordinary ink with the talisman pen and used his magic power to write. The moment the talisman pen touched the talisman paper, very fine cracks appeared on the talisman paper, but due to the high intensity external pressure, these cracks did not tend to expand further. Starting to sketch, Luo Hong used the old method of feeling in order to observe the change of mana to construct the silver rune. The first rune making was over, and it failed as expected. The rune outlined was full of small cracks. As long as it was out of the spirit gathering array, there was no doubt that the rune paper would burst and ignite immediately. Moreover, the most critical silver rune was not successfully constructed. This rune was a complete failure. In addition, Luo Hong also found that his golden finger could play a great auxiliary role in the talisman making. First of all, relying on the physical examination data, Luo Hong could accurately control the amount of mana he used, so it was impossible for the talisman paper to explode due to too much mana injected, or it would be impossible to continue the talisman making process due to too little mana injected, and affect the quality of the talisman. Secondly, due to Luo Hong's improved understanding of talismans, he can now see a new entry called completion on the talisman. There is no doubt that this is of great help to Luo Hong's practice of talisman making. At the same time, he also made it clearer about the essence of his golden finger, which is to accurately express his vague understanding of things with data. 1, 2, 10, 100. Luo Hong was obsessed with making talismans. In his hands, the talisman pen was not bound by fixed patterns, but lost all restraints. His goal was not to make a finished talisman, but to study the relationship between the flow of mana, ink shape and silver runes. When his mana was exhausted, he would meditate outside the spirit gathering array to recover. He would eat and drink in a hurry when the rain was cast in the main house. Half a month passed in a flash, and thousands of yellow talisman papers became waste. Luo Hong finally figured out the technique of drawing silver runes. This process is a bit like knowing the plain code and the password, and then inferring the conversion relationship between the two. Half a month of sleepless nights made Luo Hong look a little haggard, but he decided to make a finished water bullet talisman before taking a good rest. He picked up the pen dipped it in the blood of the Moyan frog monster, and gathered 4 mana at the tip of the pen. When the pen fell, Luo Hong moved his wrist lightly and outlined the rune in an instant. He put the pen away without taking away a trace of mana, and the talisman was made. The water bullet talisman made by Luo Hong is only slightly different from those sold on the market, but anyone who knows the goods can see that his water bullet talisman is full of mana, and there is spiritual light hidden in the talisman pattern. It must be a high quality talisman with far greater power than similar ones and very fast to activate. After enjoying the first talisman he made for a while, Luo Hong returned to his bedroom and fell asleep. After sleeping for more than 7 hours, Luo Hong stretched his waist and woke up from his dream. After waking up a little, he took out the talisman making tools again and made 3 high quality water bullet talismans in a row. If the talisman making masters in the outside world knew about this, they would be amazed and envious to death. They would fast and bathe for 3 days before making talismans, but even so, they could not guarantee that their best talismans would be successful. However, Luo Hong just did it casually after waking up, and he had a 100% success rate. There is no comparison at all. This is the difference between making talismans based on feelings and making talismans after understanding the principles. For Luo Hong, as long as he has thoroughly understood the talismans, there is no such thing as a failure rate. Moreover, his method of making talismans that directly points to the essence of talismans can bypass a major shackle that troubles all talisman makers. That is, you don't have to learn the corresponding spells first before you can make the corresponding talismans. You only need to understand the silver runes contained in the talisman. Continuing to draw water bullet talismans can no longer make Luo Hong gain any improvement, which makes him feel boring. My current drawing of water bullet talismans is as boring as copying books. Should I change? Hey, wait, copying books. If I can use formations to simulate the process of making talismans myself, wouldn't it be possible to achieve a technological explosion from handwork to printing? This is promising. Luo Hong was very excited about this idea. If it really works, it will be a complete subversion of the existing talisman making industry in the world of cultivation. Formation, you must learn it in the future. Miss Sin, I suddenly feel that Ki Young Xiao is not worthy of you. If this formation can be completed, call it water bullet talisman refining formation. Luo Hong kept this in mind and devoted himself to the study of the water shield talisman. Junior brother, your talisman is only of the primary lower level, just enough to exchange for 1 spirit stone. If you insist on having 2, I won't exchange it. Outside the transmission hall, Luo Hong was negotiating with a male disciple of the 10th level of key refining with an ugly face. That's right, senior brother Z, he is willing to exchange, just to take care of you. Don't be ungrateful. The male disciple was accompanied by a good-looking female disciple. The two seemed to be in a relationship, and they supported him very well. Luo Hong knew that it was absolutely reasonable to sell one of his talismans for 2 spirit stones. Normally, the other party would make a small profit. After all, those ordinary primary lower level talismans could be sold for 1 spirit stone, and there was no reason for his excellent one to be priced at the same price. In other words, the reason why Luo Hong was selling talismans outside the transmission hall was because he had used up all the materials for making talismans 2 days ago, and it was not convenient for him to leave the sect frequently to go to the market. The Bakio Hall, which collected talismans in the sect, was also cheating its own people. In desperation, he came up with a bad plan. The brothers and sisters who were watching didn't know whether they had poor vision or were indifferent to the matter. No one spoke for Luo Hong. Okay, brother Z, how many do you want? Luo Hong didn't want to waste any more time. Anyway, whether he sold 1 or 2, he would make a lot of money. Just these 20 pieces, I don't have any more. Who would buy 20 elementary and lower level talismans at once? There are no more. I think you are missing out on spiritual stones. I want them all. The disciple surnamed Z took out 20 spiritual stones and swept away all the talismans that Luo Hong had displayed. His movements were so quick that he seemed to be afraid that Luo Hong would regret it. Haha, thank you, junior brother. Junior sister, let's go. The disciple surnamed Z pulled the female disciple whose face was swollen and walked away, secretly delighted. Haha, senior brother Z, goodbye. Seeing this, Luo Hong knew that this person was a person who knew what was good. I'm afraid that, after buying my talisman, he would immediately sell it out of the valley to the market to make a profit. Senior brother Z, right? See you later. I have always been serious about holding grudges. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8. How could it alarm the head of the sect? Exclamation mark. After being disgusted by senior brother Z, Luo Hong completely gave up the idea of selling talismans to fellow disciples. It was really laborious, and delayed his research on silver runes and cultivation. The only way to earn spirit stones through talismans was to exchange them from Baiqiadatang. As one of the 7 major sects of cultivating immortals in New State, Huanfeng Valley has many disciples, among which the number of disciples in the key refining stage is the largest, with a total of 10,000. Moreover, it will be a few years before the next big opening of the mountain gate to recruit disciples, and thousands of new disciples will enter the valley by then. Among these key refining disciples, there are very few who have the hope of building a foundation, so most of them will choose to engage in some side jobs of cultivating immortals. Being in a large sect, most people naturally choose to tame beasts and spiritual plants, but there are also quite a few disciples who will try to refine pills and tools and make talismans. There are basically no formations, because it is almost impossible to learn without someone to teach. The top leaders of the Yellow Maple Valley support the disciples who choose to make bold attempts. After all, the more excellent production type immortal cultivators, the better. Although most of these disciples will soon experience the feeling of you don't know despair without trying hard, it is inevitable that 1 or 2 geniuses will appear under the huge base. Baiqiadatang is actually established by the Yellow Maple Valley to discover these geniuses. Other disciples with mediocre qualifications can only become workers. Baiqiadatang sells various materials for immortal cultivation side jobs, but the real good goods have long been monopolized by high-level immortal cultivators, and the rest are ordinary goods. Fortunately, the price does not let its own disciples suffer. In fact, what Luo Hong criticized most is the recycling mechanism of Baiqiadatang for various low-level outputs. Take talismans as an example. When recycling, Baiqiadatang does not care about the appearance, but only the grade. 3 low-level talismans are exchanged for 2 spirit stones, which is 30% lower than the market price. It is obvious that they want to make a profit from the price difference. Since you are unkind, don't blame me for being unjust. After leaving Baiqiao Hall, Luo Hong's storage bag had a lot of yellow talisman paper and cinnabar. Both are the lowest level materials for making talismans. The cost of making talismans about 30 times is only enough to fill a spiritual stone. Of course, for ordinary talisman makers, using these 2 things to make talismans, even if they make talismans 10,000 times, it is very likely that not one will succeed. Sitting cross-legged on the bed, Luo Hong was about to pick up the pen and work hard, but suddenly remembered that he was sitting here half a month ago, saying that he was bored with making water bullet talismans, and his cheeks couldn't help but blush. Ahem, water bullet talismans, business, not shabby. After all, he could make a lot of spiritual stones, so Luo Hong didn't mind making a good deal. Making talismans requires mana, and Luo Hong's current mana limit is only 184. It takes a lot of time to recover after it is used up. So in order to make more talismans, Luo Hong only poured 2 mana into the talisman paper every time he made a talisman. A basic lower level spell like the water bullet spell only needs 2 mana to cast, but it is so weak that only cultivators in the early stages of key refining can use it. At most, it can be increased to 6 mana, which is equivalent to the full strength attack of a cultivator in the middle stage of key refining. As a basic lower level spell, it is quite good. A month later, Luo Hong looked at the water bullet talismans and water shield talismans stacked like waste paper in the room, and his face twitched. Hey, He obviously has the skills to slay dragons, but he has fallen to selling plasters. This is a complete black history. It's all for spirit stones. Luo did this business with tears. Carrying 30,000 low-quality talismans, Luo Hong came to the vicinity of Baekyo Hall. 30,000 basic lower-level talismans can be exchanged for 20,000 spirit stones. This is the spirit stones that Luo Hong would have to work in Fanghua Garden for 800 years to earn. If he exchanged them all at once, it would definitely attract great attention. Moreover, from the incident of Han Laomo's foundation building pill being taken away, it is not difficult to see the character of the foundation building predecessors in Huangfeng Valley. If they knew about this, they might do something dirty. Therefore, the method and manner of exchanging spirit stones must be paid attention to. Fortunately, the procedure for exchanging spirit stones from Baekyo Hall is not strict. You only need to show the waist badge of Huangfeng Valley disciples and take out a certain number of talismans. So, Luo Hong Mao spent 3 days outside Baekyo Hall and figured out the time when the deacon disciples changed shifts. Then, starting from the morning of the 4th day, he entered Baekyo Hall in different costumes and exchanged hundreds of spirit stones from different deacon disciples. Baekyo Hall has to serve more than 30,000 disciples in the key refining stage. It is usually very lively with people coming and going. The dozens of deacon disciples on each shift are basically not free, and most of the deacon disciples are not very concerned about their duties, or are numb. The water bullets and water shield talismans were quite eye-catching. Luo Hong had even designed a pretext for when he was asked about the origin of the talismans, but in the end, he didn't use them once. Unfortunately, junior brother, the spiritual stones in stock are insufficient. I'm afraid that junior brother's talismans can't be exchanged. This was the 3rd day that Luo Hong had been exchanging spiritual stones. There were still hundreds of inferior talismans left in his storage bag. He would be done with one last exchange, but he didn't expect to receive such a response from the deacon disciple. It's okay, senior brother. I'll come again next time. That's good, but it's strange. The sect just transferred 20,000 spiritual stones a few days ago. Together with the inventory, it should be enough to meet the expenses of 2 or 3 people in the hall. How could it be gone so quickly? Oh, this time we have to check the big account. The deacon disciple sighed, because every big check would make the Baekyo Hall anxious. Luo Hong controlled the urge to touch his storage bag and walked out of Baekyo Hall as if everything was normal. Normally, Baekyo Hall would change shifts every 3 days and would check the small accounts at that time. As for the big accounts, they would check them once every 6 months. Therefore, Luo Hong's original plan was to use these 3 days to replace all the inferior talismans before the foundation building seniors in charge of Baekyo Hall found problems during the check. Unexpectedly, 20,000 spiritual stones directly emptied the inventory of Baekyo Hall, so Luo Hong failed to do his best. Haha, it's worthy of me to empty the spiritual stones of a large hole in the sect. I'm running away. He ran away immediately after getting the advantage. According to the time, the Huanglang pill that he asked senior sister Li to refine should be ready. Luo Hong decided to practice in Fanghua Garden for half a year after getting the pill and avoid the limelight. By the way, Luo Hong planned very well, but when he went to the Zuanhuo land to deal with Li Ziaoan, he only received her note. It turned out that during the days when he was poaching people from the sect, Li Ziaoan and her sister went out of the valley to train. Fu Zong said that she had looked for Luo Hong before she left, but when she arrived at Fanghua Garden, she saw that the protective formation was closed and sent the sound transmission talismaning, but no one answered, so she gave up. He also said, I will give you the elixir when I come back, which is an unlucky thing. Why do I feel that my Huanglang pill is in danger? At this point, Luo Hong could not get Li Ziaoan back, so he had to return to Fanghua Garden to continue studying the silver rune. But what Luo Hong did not expect was that the good things he did in Baekyo Hall, after more than 10 days, not only did not subside, but also had a trend of intensifying. I heard that recently even the head of the sect came to Baekyo Hall to question the matter and got so angry that he forced the foundation building senior who was in charge of Baekyo Hall to swear to solve the case. What exactly happened? Everyone in Bakio Hall is very secretive about this matter. Do you know the inside story, brother? I don't know either. Anyway, everyone should be careful recently, especially don't provoke people from Bakio Hall. Otherwise, you may get into trouble. Huh? Why is this junior brother so pale? Is there something wrong with his practice? It's okay, I was just impatient for a moment. I will be fine. After adjusting my breathing for a while, Luo Hong was a little panicked. How could he alarm the head of the sect? Exclamation mark. Chapter 9 Li Ziaoan may become a box. Coming out of the transmission hall, Luo Hong was panic-stricken, constantly thinking about whether he had missed anything. I was careless. I thought that, since the sect had a turnover of more than 100,000 low-level spirit stones every month, we wouldn't care too much about a loss of 10,000 or 20,000. I didn't expect that it would cause such a big commotion. Along the way, Luo Hong kept regretting that he was still not cautious enough. When he returned to Fanghua Garden, he found Liu Jing guarding the entrance of the protective formation. If he hadn't seen Liu Jing's anxious face instead of his anger, Luo Hong would have turned around and left. Uncle Liu, do you have something important to ask me? Nephew Luo, I finally found you. Let me ask you, do you know where Li Ziaoan and the others went? Liu Jing came up without any greetings and asked directly with expectation. Damn it. I'm afraid my Huanglang pill has been delivered by Li Ziaoan. It seems that she went to a place called Washan. Great, you really know. But I have never heard of Washan. Could it be that it is not in the territory of you? How could junior sisterly run so far? Liu Jing found the note related to Luo Hong in the fire room, where Li Ziaoan was refining the elixir, so he came to Fanghua Garden to try his luck. He didn't expect to have a surprise. That Washan is not necessarily not in you. Luo Hong recalled and muttered to himself. What else does junior sisterly know? Tell me quickly. The soul fire that junior sisterly left in the soul tablet is already very weak. We must find her as quickly as possible. As if realizing that his attitude was a bit rude, Liu Jing briefly explained the whole story. The situation is so critical. Unfortunately, I don't know much. I just learned from the conversation between senior sisterly and her sister that they found Washan from an ancient map, so I guessed whether Washan was an ancient place name. Luo Hong naturally didn't want her Huanglang pill to go to waste, so she told Liu Jing everything she knew. So that's how it is. My nephew really helped me a lot. I'll go look for clues in the ancient map right now. Liu Jing was overjoyed to get the important clues and was about to fly away. Uncle Liu, wait a minute. Senior sisterly helped me refine medicine. I'm really worried when I know she's in trouble now. I hope I can do my best. Please allow me. Luo Hong said this completely on impulse. If it works, she can temporarily leave the Yellow Maple Valley with Liu Jing and avoid the strict inspection of inferior talismans in the valley. If it doesn't work, she can also greatly improve Liu Jing's favorability, which is 100 benefits without any harm. It's rare that my nephew is so loyal. Very good, then go with me. Luo Hong's words were like a remedy for the disease. Liu Jing immediately looked at him with new eyes. There are not many cultivators as upright as him. Although Luo Hong is only in the key refining stage, he has already made him feel like a confidant. With Liu Jing's cultivation in the middle stage of foundation building, he was able to fly very fast, and in a moment, he brought Luo Hong to the Xiandi Pavilion, which was specially used to store geographical information of the cultivation world. Seeing that Liu Jing was about to go straight to the second floor, which was only open to disciples in the foundation building stage, Luo Hong hurriedly called him, Uncle Liu. The location of Washan was found by junior sisterly, so let's search in the ancient map on the first floor. Ah, I went in the wrong direction. Thanks to junior brother Luo for reminding me. Although his mistake was pointed out by a junior in the key refining stage, Liu Jing did not feel ashamed or resentful, but sincerely thanked him. He was really a gentleman. While searching, another handsome young male disciple and a white-haired old man walked into the Xiandi Pavilion. They were both cultivators in the key refining stage like Luo Hong, but the young male disciple had the cultivation of the 10th level of key refining, and the old man was even more powerful, having entered the 12th level of key refining for many years. Although he was too old to build a foundation, he was still a leader among the key refining cultivators. The two hurried here after receiving Luo Hong's sound transmission note. After a brief introduction, Luo Hong knew their identities. The young disciple was named Yuang, and he was obviously very concerned about senior sister Li Zhaoan. On the surface, he was the most anxious of the four. The white-haired old man was a direct descendant of the Li family, named Li Mingjing, and he was Li Zhaoan's great-uncle. The place names that could be found by Li Zhaoking would naturally not be hidden very deeply. Soon Yuang found the ancient map with Washan on it. So Washan is Xiangshan. You get on my spiritual boat, and I will fly at full speed. We can reach it in 3 days. The boat-shaped magic weapon that Luo Hong offered was different from the last time he took Luo Hong into the sect. The hull was slender and the deck was not large. It was obviously not a magic weapon for the comfort of the envoy. Luo Hong jumped on it without hesitation, not caring about the danger of this trip at all. Don't ask. If you ask, there is real treasure. It is safe. Yuang and Li Mingjing followed him on board. Yuang was a little surprised at this moment. He didn't expect that this junior brother with a normal face was more anxious than him. Could it be that junior brother Luo? I have known Zhaoan for many years and have frequent exchanges with her, but I have never heard her mention you. Why are you so concerned about her safety? Am I worried about Li Zhaoan's safety? I was in a hurry to run away. Junior brother Luo is also for the word love and righteousness. Although it is different from you, junior brother you, his intention is not inferior to yours. Luo Hong believed that Luo Hong's fellow disciple relationship was no worse than Yuang's love for men and women. Luo Hong should not be questioned by Yuang, so he spoke for justice. Hearing this, Yuang showed a look of 3 parts of relief and 7 parts of relief, and gave Luo Hong a mysterious smile. Luo Hong couldn't understand Yuang's psychological changes. He didn't understand why Yuang, who was a little hostile to him just now, suddenly made a close gesture. The spirit boat flew into the sky, and under Luo Hong's control, it flew straight towards Xiangshan. At this time, Li Mingjing, who had not spoken much, took out 4 jade tablets, and said to the other 3 people, Xiangshan is so big, that it is 1,000 miles in radius. To find Miss One, we must rely on the soul tablet to sense her breath. I will take advantage of the 3 days of traveling to divide the soul fire in the soul tablet into 4 parts, and refine it into a temporary magic weapon for finding people. I hope the 2 friends can protect it. The junior will definitely go all out. Yuang rushed to express his opinion. Although Luo Hong also agreed, he was not as active as Yuang. He sat cross-legged, looking straight ahead, and thinking about his own things. This time, I joined the team to rescue Li Zhaoan voluntarily, but was actually forced to do so. It is very likely that I will encounter my first life and death battle with a cultivator. Although Luo Hong is a reliable person and has a killer weapon such as the real treasure, there is still a chance of an accident, so I still can't take it lightly and put my safety in the hands of others. Holding the storage bag on his waist, Luo Hong glanced at Li Mingjing, who was concentrating on splitting the soul fire, and Yuang, who was standing beside him with a solemn face. There are some troubles. I have to plan carefully. Luo Hong thought so, and closed his eyes. Chapter 10 There's something wrong with you. 3 days later, in an unnamed small lake dozens of miles away from Xiangshan, a spiritual boat floated on the water, and drifted with the current. Uncle Luo, why did we stop? This place is still some distance away from Xiangshan. Yuang was already impatient to achieve the achievement of being a hero and saving a beautiful woman. In the past 3 days, he had been paying attention to the state of Li Zhaoan's soul fire at all times, so he immediately discovered that the soul fire had stopped weakening, which indicated that Li Zhaoan's life would not be in danger for a while. Moreover, Xiangshan was right in front of him, and there was a fellow uncle in the middle stage of foundation building beside him. Yuang was very relieved, but his evil thoughts also followed. Nephew you lost your composure. What do you think nephew Li is in now? Luo Hong's voice was slightly cold. He had already seen through Yuang's little thoughts. He just wanted to show off in front of the Li family. At present, the enemy situation is unclear, but he is doing this kind of evil way. He really deserves a lesson. Well, I'm the junior Menglang. Please forgive me, uncle. As for junior sister Zion, I think she must have strayed into some dangerous place, which resulted in her being seriously injured and unable to escape on her own. Yuang's heart trembled. Liu Jing's pleasant face in the past 3 days almost made him forget that he was a foundation building cultivator. Because his mind was full of Li Zian, he spoke wildly. From the changes in the soul fire, the situation you mentioned is indeed the most likely. But there is another possible situation. Liu Jing glanced at the 3 people with a stern look, paused for a while, and continued, that is, an evil cultivator captured junior sister Li and imprisoned her. To prevent this worst case scenario, before entering Xiangshan to search, I must first recover the mana loss caused by the days of driving the weapon. Luo Hong nodded repeatedly as he listened, secretly giving Liu Jing 10,000 thumbs up. As expected of an evil cultivator killer, Liu Jing's fighting experience far exceeds that of ordinary cultivators. Without reading the original work, he was able to learn the caution of Han Lao Mo. That's what my uncle taught me. Yuang admitted his mistake and gave in, but he still felt that his speculation was more reliable. In order to wait for Liu Jing to recover his magic power, the spirit boat drifted on the lake all night. At sunrise in the morning, Liu Jing's face flashed with green light, and then he stopped practicing and stood up. Let's go. At the same time, in an underground cave deep in Xiangshan, Li Zian and Li Ziaking were leaning against each other weakly. Li Ziao's face was as pale as gold paper, and she sat with her back against the stone wall, her eyebrows still wrinkled from time to time. Although her injuries were stable, it was impossible for her to recover under the conditions here. Sister, will we die here like senior brother Gu? Although Li Ziaking had no injuries on her body, she looked extremely haggard, with tear marks on her cheeks, and her eyes occasionally glanced at a dried corpse wearing the school uniform of Huang Fenggu not far away. Ziaking, be good. We will be fine. The uncles and aunts will definitely come to save us. Li Zian comforted Ziaking, who was trembling like a sick kitten in her arms. After a while, she took out more than 10 spirit stones from the storage bag and handed them to her, saying, Ziaking, the spirit stones of the protective formation are almost used up. Go and change some new ones. The cave they were in was a secret cave of ancient immortal cultivators. That day, they were besieged by evil cultivators. If Li Zian had not found the eye of the cave's protective formation, and if the formation itself was not damaged, but lacked spirit stones, they would have fallen into the hands of the evil cultivators, and might have been humiliated by now. Watching Ziaking walk deeper into the cave, Li Zian finally couldn't help coughing, and quickly swallowed a healing pill that only treated the symptoms, and then gradually relieved. I hope the uncle who comes to help can have the cultivation of the middle stage of foundation building, otherwise it may be. Li Zian is very clear about her own value, because she knows best how much resources the family has spent on her to train her to become an alchemist. If she dies, these resources will be wasted, so she is not worried about whether there will be rescue. Despite this, Li Zian still has a trace of worry in her heart. There was no immortal cultivator in the foundation building period among the evil cultivators who besieged them that day, but when she took the blood anger pill to protect the other 2 people into the cave, a blood light shot out from the evil cultivator. The blood light was extremely fast and pierced through Brother Gu's body protection magic weapon in an instant and sucked all his blood and essence in the moment it passed through his chest. Now is the 4th day they are trapped here, but it is still quiet outside the protective formation. Those evil cultivators don't seem to have the idea of breaking the formation, which makes Li Zian more worried. The spirit boat flew over Xiangshan. Luo Hong looked at the endless mountains below, the colorful mist floating between the trees, and the faint roar of the fierce beast, and suddenly felt his scalp tingling. This place is dangerous, and we must not act alone. Uncle Liu, Xiangshan is so big, and the sensing distance of the soul tablet is limited. Let's search separately. Senior brother Yu, something is wrong with you. Yuang's proposal almost made Luo Hong attack him directly. I really don't know whether to say that he is infatuated or horny. Fortunately, this guy has no final say, and Liu Jing will definitely not okay. The 2 of you will search the east and west direction separately. Seeing that they agreed, Liu Jing turned his eyes to Luo Hong behind him. Why did you agree? Where is your caution? What if there is really an evil cultivator? Junior brother Luo's cultivation has not yet reached the late stage of key refining, so continue to follow me. With my flying speed, I will not be slower than you if I'm responsible for the north and south directions alone. Okay, Uncle Liu. You are so wise. Junior brother Luo, you are really willing to shrink back. You should know that junior sister Xia King is still waiting for you to rescue her. Yuang said some inexplicable words and used his eyes to signal Luo Hong to look in the direction of Li Mingjing. This old man is almost half buried in the ground. Of course he is not afraid of death. You want me to learn from him? You are really sick. Luo Hong was so angry that he barely controlled his expression and bowed his hands and said, Junior is willing to go with Uncle Master. Uncle Master just concentrates on controlling the weapon, and Junior will always pay attention to the movement of the soul fire. Well, evil cultivators are cruel and cunning. If you want to kill evil, you must be willing to take risks. You must not be timid and care too much about yourself when encountering things, but sometimes you must do what you can and act carefully. Brother Luo understands the true meaning of it. He came without hesitation and thought carefully before things. If he succeeds in cultivation in the future, he will definitely kill the evil cultivators of U State and scare them away. Liu Jing's face was full of the look of I'm not alone in my way, and there are successors, which made Luo Hong feel a little ashamed. Killing evil cultivators and doing the right thing is easy to do. Going around the world to kill evil cultivators is either because you have a grudge against them or for fame and fortune. Luo Hong had no relatives or friends who had died at the hands of evil cultivators, and he did not value fame and fortune, so wouldn't it be better to use this time to cultivate? To ascend from the human world to the spiritual world, one must have the ability to transform into a spirit. Han Lao Mo ascended without even waiting for his wife. If Luo Hong wanted to benefit from the heavenly palm bottle, he could not cultivate too slowly. Therefore, sometimes he really did not understand why other cultivators were so idle. Chapter 11. The First Battle. The spirit boat was speeding under Liu Jing's control. Luo Hong held the soul tablet and paid attention to the changes of the soul fire in it. The soul fire can sense the life and death of the cultivator at a very long distance, but in order to sense its position, it must be within 10 miles of the cultivator. After searching for a while, Luo Hong felt that the spirit boat suddenly sank. The soul fire did not change. Could it be that Liu Jing had discovered something else? Luo Hong used the sky eye technique to look up and look forward. He saw a bloody aura in the forest 3 miles away, which was rapidly spreading among the people. After getting closer, Luo Hong sensed a bloody and evil aura of mana. He actually encountered an evil cultivator so soon. Flying above the bloody aura, below was a village of mortal mountain people, which was being robbed by mountain bandits. Although most of the mountain people were strong and resisted, they were still no match for the desperate mountain bandits. The village was about to be breached. Just when the tragedy was about to happen, 2 silver wheels fell from the sky and easily beheaded all the mountain bandits who were fighting with the mountain people. Faced with such a shocking change, these mountain bandits did not immediately disintegrate, but after a few breaths, they seemed to have lost their backbone and fled in all directions. Although the 7 major sects all forbid their disciples from interfering in mortal affairs, as long as they did not kill innocent people indiscriminately and participate in the affairs of the mortal dynasty, there would be no substantial punishment. Therefore, at this time, Liu Jing killed these mountain bandits without mercy. When the silver wheel was flying, the lives of the mountain bandits were like grass. Such a bloody scene, even the rescued party was trembling with fear, kneeling on the ground and kowtowed continuously. There were so many mountain bandits that, even if Liu Jing killed them very quickly, there were still many fish that slipped through the net. Liu Jing did not persevere in chasing and killing them, but retracted the silver wheel and shot it at an open space. Bang! A disheveled figure in black clothes broke out of the ground. He was the leader of this group of mountain bandits. After sensing Luo Hong's breath from a distance, he hid underground and watched. After the silver wheel appeared, he did not even dare to show his head and tried his best to restrain his own breath. Because the black-clothed evil cultivator could not sense the breath of the silver wheel driver at all, he knew that he had encountered a high-level cultivator, and could only pray that the other party was careless and let him escape. The black-clothed evil cultivator's move was a bit too naive. Even Luo Hong could sense his faint breath, not to mention Liu Jing, who was in the middle stage of foundation building. After breaking out of the ground, the black-clothed evil cultivator did not close his eyes and wait for death. He quickly threw out several poisonous smoke bombs, trying to take the opportunity to escape. Nephew Luo, you will subdue him, and I will help you in the air. Liu Jing could easily intercept the black evil cultivator with the silver wheel, but he did not do it, wanting to take the opportunity to let Luo Hong hone his skills. Luo Hong would naturally not refuse a game that he was sure to win, and he also wanted to take the opportunity to collect some fighting data. With his left hand, he slapped a wind-controlling talisman to blow away the poisonous smoke, and with his right hand, he sacrificed the cold moon knife to cut the black evil cultivator's vest. The black-clothed evil cultivator had to give up escaping and turned to dodge to the side. After the attack, Luo Hong did not continue to attack fiercely, but observed the methods of the evil cultivator in black. Under normal circumstances, this choice of giving the enemy time to prepare is definitely a big mistake, but with Liu Jing watching in the sky, he naturally needs to learn more about the methods of the evil cultivators. Liu Jing probably has the same idea. After all, the probability of a foundation building cultivator appearing among the evil cultivators is small, but it still exists. Seeing that there is no hope of escape, the evil cultivator in black looked up at Liu Jing in the sky and saw Luo Hong not far away sticking a talisman on his shoulder, and immediately understood the current situation. He laughed wildly, and a red spiritual pattern lit up on his forehead. His aura, which was originally slightly weaker than Luo Hong, immediately surged and surpassed. At the same time, he pinched the magic formula in his hand, and the black air around him was agitated. Amid the many shrill ghost cries, the black air condensed into a ghost claw and rushed straight towards Luo Hong. The fighting method of the evil cultivators is completely different from that of the orthodox cultivators who practice the five element. The blood, ghost, and hostility are mixed and surging, and the battle alone is very terrifying. Once he chose to attack, he left no room for maneuver. Without any trial, he immediately started a secret method that was extremely detrimental to his vitality. The Cold Moon Blade was just a low-level magic weapon that Huangfeng Valley gave to every key refining stage disciple. It was completely unable to compete with the ghost claws condensed by the black-clothed evil cultivator. As soon as it came into contact, it was slapped away, and its spirituality was slightly damaged. Without the Cold Moon Blade, the only protection left on Luo Hong's body was a thin layer of spiritual light membrane. At this time, the speed of the ghost claws suddenly increased, and it came to Luo Hong's head in an instant. Haha, use your death to achieve my swan song. Hey! The black-clothed evil cultivator shouted, and the spiritual pattern on his forehead shone more brightly, and his face became visibly thinner. The ghost claws were stained with a trace of blood, and then they slapped it hard. The spiritual light membrane was broken, as if it did not exist. Luo Hong had no time to dodge, and was hit on the top of his head. The black-clothed evil cultivator was overjoyed when he saw this. The power of his ghost claws cultivated by the blood sacrifice method was so strong that even ordinary protective magic tools could not withstand it, not to mention the flesh and blood of the immortal cultivators. This kid is dead. The next moment, his head will be smashed by me, and before I die, I will crush his soul. A disciple of a big sect was buried with me, and I have earned this life. However, when the next moment came, the black-clothed evil cultivator was dumbfounded to see that the ghost claws directly penetrated Luo Hong's head, and Luo Hong just shook his body. Evil cultivators, are they all stupid guys? Luo Hong looked at the ghost claws that smashed into the ground 10 feet away from him with ease, and quickly repaired the transparent water wall in front of him. It turned out that Luo Hong had secretly used a simple water control technique to create a water curtain when he activated the water shield talisman. The Luo Hong that the black-clothed evil cultivator saw was just a virtual image formed after the light was deflected by the water curtain, so no matter how powerful his attack was, it could not cause any damage to Luo Hong. The enemy had fallen into the trap, and Luo Hong also launched his killing move. A red sword shadow flew to the top of Luo Hong's head, and then it spun around and shot directly at the still shocked black-clothed evil cultivator. At this time, the black-clothed evil cultivator had completely lost his mind. If he could find Luo Hong's real body at this moment, he would still not hesitate to exchange his life for hers, but he couldn't see through the mystery of the virtual image formation, so he had to send the ghost claw back to help. His ghost claw was indeed amazing, and its escape speed was far faster than the Liang sword. He managed to catch up with the sword shadow, even though he was so far behind. But when he just breathed a sigh of relief, a chill came from his vest, and then he saw a piece of the knife tip protruding from his chest. Under the severe pain, the black-clothed evil cultivator could not maintain his magic formula, and the ghost claw suddenly collapsed, and the spiritual pattern on his forehead also dimmed. Not bad, really not bad. Junior brother Luo has such a high talent in fighting, the training I arranged is superfluous. After seeing the spiritual pattern on the forehead of the evil cultivator in black, Liu Jing didn't think Luo Hong could defeat this man. But he didn't expect that he could defeat this evil cultivator who was determined to die with just the two low-level magic weapons, the cold moon blade and the fiery sun sword, which were given to him upon entry, and a little bit of ingenuity. Knowing that I wanted to interrogate him, he deliberately avoided the evil cultivator's vital point in the back in the last blow. Alas, it's a pity that this boy's spiritual roots are too poor, otherwise I would have accepted him as a disciple and spread my reputation. I have been thinking about spinning for a long time, and I finally feel comfortable after holding it in for a few days. Chapter 12, The Slaughtering Karma. After praising Luo Hong, Liu Jing's face turned cold, and he walked to the black-clothed evil cultivator who was kneeling on the ground. You want your fellow disciples to go down and accompany you. Tell me where they are. Liu Jing knew the thoughts of these low-level evil cultivators very well. There was no fellow discipleship between them. There was only hatred. Moreover, because of the evil cultivation, most of the evil cultivators had twisted minds. Therefore, if you captured one evil cultivator alive, you could often find a whole group of them. Ahem. Senior brother, they are all preparing a blood sacrifice for the master on the Demon Spider Peak, 150 miles to the east. The black-clothed evil cultivator lived up to expectations and betrayed his master and fellow disciples. Blood sacrifice? Are there any key refining immortal cultivators wearing the same clothes as him among the sacrifices? Liu Jing pointed at Luo Hong's yellow Maple Valley School uniform and asked. I only know that the blood sacrifice will be held at midnight tonight. The eldest brother ordered me to come here to collect 12 pairs of mortal boys and girls. Humph. What is the level of your master? What are the characteristics of the sect's skills? As long as you tell me everything quickly, I will let your soul go. Hearing the words boys and girls, Liu Jing couldn't help but think of the experiences of being tortured by evil cultivators in his childhood. New and old hatred surged in his heart, and the rising murderous aura made Luo Hong feel uncomfortable. After listening to the explanation of the black-clothed evil cultivator, Luo Hong had a certain understanding of this evil sect hidden in Xiangshan. In fact, they are not a sect at all. They are purely a makeshift team formed by a powerful evil cultivator who has reached the great perfection of key refining. The relationship between the master and the disciple is more like a master and servant, and the relationship between the disciples is full of conspiracy and blood. As for the cultivation method, the black-clothed evil cultivator couldn't say much. He just practiced what the master said. The spiritual pattern on his forehead is called Burning Blood Totem. It is said to be a secret method passed down from ancient times. After using it, one can burn one's own blood and temporarily improve cultivation. In order to practice this secret technique, the black-clothed evil cultivator told him to drink the heart blood of a mortal every day. 3 months is enough. You have used the lives of hundreds of people to complete your evil technique. You can't redeem your sins, even if you die 1,000 times. Liu Jing was extremely angry. If what this person said was true, this group of evil cultivators might have committed a heinous crime of killing. Xiangshan belongs to the sphere of influence of Huangfeng Valley. If this matter is known by the other 6 major sects, they will definitely laugh at it. After the interrogation, Luo Hong with an angry face, mercilessly drove the cold moon blade to smash the heart of the black-clothed evil cultivator, and flicked out a small fireball, burning his body to ashes. This black-clothed evil cultivator is really not doing well. Not only does he have no magic tools and spiritual medicines, he doesn't even have a storage bag. There are only a few low-level spiritual stones left in the white ash. Luo Hong put the spirit stones into the storage bag without much interest. When he turned around, he saw Liu Jing looking at him in surprise. "Brother Luo, why are you so skilled? This kid is obviously out for training for the first time, but his actions of killing people for treasures are more experienced than mine. Is this also a talent? I just hate this person for being so unscrupulous that he sucks human blood to practice martial arts. I don't want to leave him with a complete body." Liu Jing was just surprised by Luo Hong's behavior and didn't think there was anything wrong with it. He should be more ruthless when dealing with evil cultivators. Even if Luo Hong didn't explain, he wouldn't care. "It's okay, take this for self-defense." Luo Hong held the magic weapon that Liu Jing handed over with magic power and took a closer look. It was a tortoise pattern shield with rich spiritual energy. This magic weapon is called the Spirit Turtle Shield. It is a top-grade magic weapon. It is useless to me. I will give it to you for self-defense. It is a thank you gift from the Li family in advance. Then I would like to thank you, uncle. Luo Hong hesitated for a moment, but still chose to accept it. After all, there are many evil cultivators in Xiangshan, and this shield can make his life safer. Well, riding a spirit boat is too conspicuous. I'm afraid it will disturb the evil cultivators. Let's fly to the Demon Spider Peak. Uncle, why don't you call Brother Yu and Elder Li? The escaped bandits may inform us, and if we are late, something will happen. I'm enough. Now that he knew that there were no foundation building stage evil cultivators, Liu Jing's worries were greatly reduced, and he had decided to kill. Then if I act with uncle, I will become a burden. It is better to wait in this village, to digest the gains from the previous battle. Luo Hong thought to himself, how crazy must he be to fight with a group of poor ghosts? Liu Jing was stunned when he heard this. He thought that Luo Hong would try every means to follow him after confirming the existence of the evil cultivator. Of course, he didn't mind this, otherwise he wouldn't have specially given Luo Hong a protective magic weapon. My nephew is really brave, but I'm the uncle who has thought about something else. Go and warm up some rice wine. I'll be back soon. Luo Hong watched until Liu Jing's figure completely disappeared, and he didn't figure out where his bravery came from. Goddess, please. Save my child. His father is gone, and if the child is gone, then I won't live. A peasant woman rushed over with loud tears, and it seemed that she was going to hold Luo Hong's legs and write the word miserable. At this time, two male mountain people caught up from behind, and the two of them worked together to hold the peasant woman. His aunt, don't make trouble. If you disturb the goddess, our whole village will be buried with you. An old man with a goatee was furious and smashed his crutches wildly. It seemed that he was the village chief here. You are too kind, old man. We cultivators will not kill innocent people. Where is the child? Take me there quickly. Luo Hong would not deliberately help mortals, but if he happened to meet him, he would be happy to help. The old man did not expect Luo Hong to be so easy to talk to. He was stunned for a moment, but the peasant woman reacted very quickly and immediately led Luo Hong. When the mountain bandits attacked the village, they fired several rounds with hunting bows. Unfortunately, the peasant woman's child was shot in the lower abdomen by the arrow. At this moment, he had fainted from the pain. It would be difficult for an ordinary man to survive with such an injury. The peasant woman's child was only 3 years old. If Luo Hong had not been here, he would have been waiting to die. After letting the mountain people pull out the arrow, Luo Hong immediately performed the rejuvenation technique. The child's wound healed visibly, and the pale little face gradually regained color. Thank you, immortal. Thank you, immortal. Seeing this, the peasant woman kowtowed repeatedly. The onlookers looked at each other in amazement at first, to confirm that they were not hallucinating, and then knelt on the ground in unison. Okay, this is expected. Father-in-law, find me a clean place, and arrange for the injured villagers to come here for treatment one by one. Rejuvenation is a small spell that does not require much mana. So Luo Hong simply did a good job. Hey, then please go to my house and stay for a while. The old man agreed with a smile on his face and turned around and shouted at the top of his voice, Shi Tao, come here and lead the way for the immortal. Dad, look how deep the cut on my hand is. Let me go first. Go. Go and help me carry the dying person home. Luo Hong, who had not yet walked far, nodded when he heard this. This old man was a sensible person, and he could ask him about the situation in the mountains later. Chapter 13, Slip Away First. After driving away the last mountaineer who was thanking him profusely, the old man invited Luo Hong to the courtyard, where a table of local food and wine had been prepared. The rich aroma of the greasy and meaty dishes made Luo Hong, who had been eating bland soup for several months, very hungry. After taking a few pieces of meat and drinking a sip of rice wine, it was so delicious. It was as if he was wandering in a soft spiritual aura. Hey, wait, there is really spiritual aura. Luo Hong looked at the empty wine glass and licked his lips. The old man's daughter-in-law filled it up for him with great insight. The spiritual aura in the wine rose. Although it was not as good as the authentic spiritual wine sold in the market, it was not far behind. Old man, what is this wine made from? Luo Hong didn't expect that he could still enjoy the treatment of the protagonist and have the hope of finding spiritual objects in a mortal village. Is this what good people get? It's just ordinary rice, but after the rice wine was brewed, I threw a bead made by a red spider into it. The old man was very satisfied with Luo Hong's shocked expression, which made him feel proud. What is a dance spider? Dance spiders are giant spiders that live near the demon spider peak. They are extremely powerful and have thick skin and flesh. If they were not slow, we would never dare to hunt them. I only heard that old clams can make pearls, but I didn't know that spiders can do the same. Fairy, don't disbelieve me. Dance spiders can not only make pearls, but the pearls they make are very valuable. Last time I brought one to the city, those nobles almost fought over it. So, the village actually relies on hunting dance spiders for a living, but you don't look rich, do you? Hey, dance spiders are not ordinary beasts. If we really can't make ends meet, we wouldn't have the idea of hunting them. And the demon spider peak is not a good place either. Poisonous fog and miasma are common, and the earth demon erupts once a year. If you rely on hunting pearls for a living, you won't have enough lives. The old man was very emotional in his words, as if he had suffered a great loss on the demon spider peak. Earth demon erupts. What does it look like? Luo Hong stopped the chopsticks in his hand, feeling a little uneasy. I can't describe it either. It's just that the endless black gas rushes out from the cracks in the ground. If the villagers get a little bit of it, they have to stay in bed for more than a month. But it's strange. In previous years, the earth evil would have erupted a few days ago, and it never missed a day. I don't know what happened this year. It's still nowhere to be seen today. The old man shook his head in distress. As long as the earth evil didn't come out, the villagers would not dare to go into the mountain. This is not a long-term solution. Old man, thank you for your hospitality. I have something urgent to do, so I won't bother you anymore. Luo Hong didn't even wipe his mouth. He stood up, took out the Kingai magic weapon, and jumped on it. When he flew to the middle of the air, he thought of something, and stopped and said, there will be changes in the mountain in the near future. Don't go out before the earth evil appears. You may see a firebird in the sky. This is a lucky beast. Don't worry. After speaking, Luo Hong rushed out of the mountain. Oh my, this is a real fairy. It flies away as soon as it says it will. The old man hurriedly put away the dishes and chopsticks that Luo Hong had used. Dad, why is the immortal so anxious? It's like his butt is on fire. You fool, what nonsense are you talking about? The immortal must be in a hurry to kill demons. Why are you sitting down? Did you ask me to eat? Hurry up and tell everyone. Put down the immortal wine. Luo Hong had no time to care about the fuss at the old man's house. At this moment, his heart was ringing with alarm bells. He wished he could put on a pair of wind and thunder wings and fly back to Huangfeng Valley directly. As soon as we arrived, the earth evil that had been gushing normally for decades was late. How could such a coincidence happen in the world? Someone must have sealed the earth evil of the demon spider peak. The only one among us who deserved such a battle was Li Yujing. who was in the middle stage of foundation building. Luo Hong was not worried about Liu Jing's safety. This big brother had a real treasure. At worst, he would be forced to fight back. Luo Hong was worried that the other party dared to attack the foundation building cultivators in Huangfeng Valley, and they would probably kill the small shrimps in the key refining stage. So, let's slip away first. Two flowers bloom, each with its own beauty. After Liu Jing separated from Luo Hong, he restrained his breath, flew close to the treetops, and soon arrived at the foot of the demon spider peak. As soon as he arrived here, the thick earthly evil air made Liu Jing's mind dizzy, and he quickly put a talisman on his shoulder. Looking around, whether it was the rocks or the plants, there was a thick earthly evil air lingering around. The spiritual energy between heaven and earth was very little, which greatly suppressed the combat power of the orthodox cultivators. It's worthy of being the nest of evil cultivators. There is no vitality, just like a ghost cave. Liu Jing was not afraid. With his cultivation in the middle stage of foundation building, dealing with some evil cultivators in the key refining stage was as easy as killing mountain bandits. The soul tablet sensed the location of my nephew Li. Great, you actually captured my disciples of Huangfeng Valley for blood sacrifice. You will not escape today. Liu Jing noticed the change of the soul tablet hanging on his waist, and immediately became furious, and accelerated to climb the peak. At this time, at the top of the demon spider peak, the evil cultivator leader who had reached the great perfection of key refining, was kneeling in front of a stone chamber. The bird is in the cage, and we will act according to the plan. An extremely cold voice came from the stone chamber. Yes, master. After the evil cultivator leader stood up and responded, he flew to the blood sacrifice platform on the mountainside. The 6 evil cultivator disciples guarding here immediately saluted respectfully. How are the sacrifices prepared? Master, except for the boys and girls you temporarily ordered this morning, the rest are ready. The evil cultivator leader walked into the cage, pinched a woman's delicate face, looked around, then licked the fresh human blood on his sharp nails, and nodded to show satisfaction. Although there are fewer boys and girls, these excellent sacrifices are enough for this seat to break through the foundation. Let's start the blood sacrifice now. Master, why don't you wait for a while? My junior brother should be back soon. Are you teaching me how to do things? The evil cultivator leader's eyes flashed with a fierce light. Don't dare. Disciples, activate the blood refining formation immediately. Seeing their master getting angry, the 6 evil cultivators immediately flew to the various points of the blood refining formation, offering the formation flags they were carrying, with black air rising from their bodies and chanting incantations. Soon, the blood refining formation was activated, and the blood energy enveloped the blood altar. The evil cultivator leader sat in the middle, pinched his hand in a magic formula, and saw a blood light passing through a cage that imprisoned more than 100 mortals. The essence, blood, and souls of these mortals in the bloodlight were all drained, and then all merged into the blood refining formation, making the blood energy in the formation more concentrated. After those mortal souls entered the blood refining formation, they immediately felt as if they were being boiled in a frying pan, and suffered unbearable pain, and countless resentments arose. Many of the souls rushed to the center of the formation with overwhelming hatred, but once they came into contact with the black air on the surface of the evil cultivator leader's body, they were fiercely bounced away, and their souls dissipated even faster. Even if you mortals become ghosts, you can't hurt me at all. Become my food for advancement. The evil cultivator leader laughed wildly, and the spell in his hand changed. Another blood light shone through the formation. At this time, 2 silver wheels flew from the sky, and Liu Jing's angry voice followed. Bold evil cultivator, surrender, and die. Chapter 14 Liu Jing falls into a trap. The silver wheel roared into the formation and headed straight for the head of the evil cultivator leader. HMPH. You are so arrogant. Let me defile your magic weapon. The evil cultivator leader was shocked and angry. He immediately controlled the blood light to roll back. After engulfing a large number of new wronged souls in the formation, he rushed towards the silver wheel head on. When the two met, a thin layer of white light appeared on the silver wheel. All the blood light and wronged souls that came into contact with it melted quickly like the remaining snow under the scorching sun. This scene was all within Liu Jing's expectations. His pair of silver wheels were refined with ore and sand, which was the best at restraining blood and ghost energy. Every time he dealt with evil cultivators, he was always successful. Master, we are here to help you. The evil cultivators in the formation eyes around the formation waved their formation flags one after another. The blood energy merged with the black energy on their bodies and condensed into a dark red fireball in an instant. Ridiculous. Facing the fireballs shot from all directions, Li Yujing sneered and turned his palm to offer a silk handkerchief. The silk scarf grew in the wind, and in a blink of an eye, it covered a large area in front of Li Yujing. When the fireballs flew to the silk scarf, they saw a flash of fluorescence on the silk scarf, and all the fireballs were bounced back. Regardless of how flustered the evil cultivators were, Li Yujing had already driven the silver wheel into the evil cultivator leader. Blood burning technique. The evil cultivator leader's secret technique was more advanced, and when it was activated, red spiritual patterns lit up all over his body, and the side effects were even more terrifying. In an instant, his originally well-proportioned body became skinny and only skin and bones remained. Black air surged around his body, his long hair danced wildly, and the roar in his throat lost the tone of an ordinary person. The whole person was like a demon in the world. The abnormally solid black ghost claws appeared in the hands of the evil cultivator leader, and then he attacked brazenly and captured Li Yujing's pair of silver wheels. The gap between key refining and foundation building cannot be crossed by secret methods. Prepare to die. Li Yujing increased his mana output. The white light on the silver wheel became stronger, and the speed doubled. The evil leader's ghost claws on both hands were rapidly worn away, and when they were about to be cut, he laughed. You hypocrites who claim to be righteous have cut off our path to immortality and want to kill us. Today, I want to see how many people you can save. As soon as the voice fell, two bloodlights flew out of the blood sacrifice formation, brushing against the remaining two cages holding mortals. Not good. It was definitely too late to drive the silver wheel back for help. So Li Yujing could only fly up, use the silk handkerchief to deflect a bloodlight, and cast a protective spell to resist the other one. Haha, start the formation. Seeing that Li Yujing had been led to the cage, the evil cultivator leader was overjoyed. After giving an order, the 6 evil cultivator disciples immediately cast spells on the formation flags in their hands. In an instant, a black light shield rose up, covering Li Yujing and the 2 cages together. Humph. You think a mere gathering evil formation can trap me? Li Yujing controlled the silver wheel to fly back, while chanting spells in the gathering evil formation, preparing to attack from both inside and outside, and break the formation in one fell swoop. Master, the gathering evil formation is not a formation specifically used to trap the enemy. Please withdraw the blood sacrifice formation, so that we can leave this place quickly. Of course, a gathering evil formation alone cannot trap a cultivator in the foundation building period, but with your flesh, blood, and soul, that's enough. Reverse yin and yang, and sacrifice blood to all living beings. The words of the evil cultivator leader made the evil cultivators in the center of the formation scared to death. They wanted to escape, but they found that the center of the formation under their feet burst out with a strong suction force, and their mana, blood, and even souls were being quickly extracted by it. The evil gathering array also changed accordingly. Thick and smelly plasma emerged on the black light film, and it would soon spread to the entire light shield. Li Yujing felt something was wrong. The evil leader seemed to have planned it in advance. This was a trap. He must not be trapped in this array. Quick. With Li Yujing's full strength burst, the silver wheel finally hit the evil gathering array before the plasma closed. With the fire snake technique he prepared, a huge hole was blasted open in the black light shield. However, just as Li Yujing was about to escape, a shuttle-shaped bloodlight flew from the dark. Sensing the powerful breath of the sneak attacker, Li Yujing did not dare to neglect it. He shrunk the silk handkerchief to the size of a heart-protecting mirror and blocked it in front of his chest. The shuttle-shaped bloodlight was really powerful. It actually ignored the silk handkerchief's magical ability to deflect attacks and pushed Li Yujing back again and again. After being delayed like this, the plasma completely wrapped the light shield. The person in the dark took back the magic weapon and appeared behind the evil leader. Master, it's done. I'll go and unlock the seal. Master, you. The evil cultivator leader looked at his empty chest in astonishment, and his consciousness quickly disappeared. Disciple, I have been refining this human pill for 30 years. I wanted to use it when I broke through the Danji barrier, but unfortunately I can't wait until then. As the evil cultivator leader fell, the mastermind behind the whole thing finally revealed his true face. Old age is the strongest impression he gives people. No matter how fierce his momentum is, it can't cover up the fact that he is about to die of old age. Why did the Taoist friend from Huangfeng Valley stop? You are not the kind of cultivator who would choose to kill at the cost of his strength. When the evil cultivators and their disciples were killing each other, Liu Jing drove the silver wheel to try to break the formation, but even if the blood plasma was cut by the silver wheel, it would recover immediately, which was very tricky. You want to survive so much, aren't you afraid of being hunted down by Huangfeng Valley? Liu Jing tried to delay time and think about how to escape. Do you think those two young men in the key refining stage can go back alive? No matter how powerful the Yellow Maple Valley is, they can't find a casual cultivator they know nothing about. 2. It's true. Brother Luo, whether you can survive depends on whether you are cautious enough. Liu Jing whispered to himself and sat down cross-legged. No matter how much you think, it's useless. Become the old man and step onto the ladder of immortality. Come on. The earth shook, and the turbid air of the earth demon that had been suppressed for many days under the demon spider peak gushed out. For a time, the black air rolled back the sky, covering the sun and the moon. Time went back to half an hour ago. Luo Hong had not yet left the territory of Xiangshan. His own poor cultivation was one reason, and the rubbish of the King Guy magic weapon was another reason. I have a huge sum of 20,000 spirit stones on me, but I still ride a bicycle. Change it. I will change it immediately when I go back. The guy used to escape, can't be stingy. Luo Hong was thinking about this when he suddenly heard Yuang's voice behind him. Brother Luo, please stay. Luo Hong was furious. He looked back and saw Yuang being chased by two evil cultivators with black key. He sensed their auras and found that they were all powerful people in the late stage of key refining. Don't come over here. Luo Hong didn't want to stay at all, but the three of them flew faster than him. Instead of rushing to meet the enemy after being caught up, it would be better to do Yuang a favor. This brother Yu is poisonous. I will avoid him in the future. Brother Yu, don't worry. I'm here to help you. Brother Luo, I was right about you. I will speak well of you in front of Xia King in the future. Yuang was overjoyed. He was not an ordinary key refining disciple. If he fought alone, he would not be afraid of the evil cultivators. Brothers are here to make a short statement. We are going to sign a contract. Hurry up and invest to get some money. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15: A certain degree of crushing. The manner of a key refining cultivator is not strong enough to sustain the loss of flying in the air. In addition, since the spiritual awareness of a key refining cultivator is not strong, the distance between the enemy and us in the air is far, the speed is fast, and it is difficult to hit the target with attacks, so air combat generally does not occur. Now that they have decided to fight, Luo Hong and Yuang landed on a rocky beach by the riverbank. The two evil cultivators who were chasing them also landed 100 meters away from them. Brother Luo, come over here. My diamond bell is a top level protective magic weapon. It will definitely protect you during the fight later. Yuang sacrificed a small golden bell and threw it over his head. In an instant, it turned into a huge bell that could cover a person. Looking at its aura and appearance, it is indeed amazing in terms of protective power. No need, brother Yu, I have a spirit turtle shield. It is not a problem to protect myself in a short period of time. I just hope that brother Yu can kill the evil cultivator quickly, otherwise my mana may not be able to support it. Luo Hong instinctively felt that it was very inappropriate to come over. After sacrificing the spirit turtle shield, he urged Yuang to go first. On the other side, the two evil cultivators were also discussing how to deal with Luo Yu and the others. Brother, the guy on the left is at the 10th level of key refining, and the magic weapon he sacrificed looks amazing. It seems to be a top level magic weapon. It's a bit troublesome. Although my cultivation is one level higher than his, the bloodthirsty shuttle has not yet been sacrificed to perfection. I'm afraid it will take a while to take him down. In that case, let me kill the waste at the 7th level of key refining first, and then deal with him together with you. Okay, a quick battle. Otherwise when the third brother comes, it will be difficult to divide the storage bags of the two of them. Humph, I'm at the 10th level of key refining. It only takes a moment to kill a waste at the 7th level. Brother, just watch. Seeing the two evil cultivators rushing up at the same time, Luo also mobilized his magic power to meet them, but Luo Hong stood still. He hoped that Luo would go up to attract all the firepower so that he could output from the back. Unfortunately, Luo was completely incapable of trash talk, and his ridicule had no effect at all. The weaker evil cultivator bypassed him and headed straight for Luo Hong. It seems that you have chosen me as a breakthrough point, so I will let you taste my improved virtual image. Luo Hong believed in the principle of planning before taking action, and when he was running away, he was considering the possibility of being intercepted. Virtual image has been verified in actual combat, so it is naturally the focus of his attention. To be honest, the transparent water wall created by the water control technique has a lot of loopholes in imaging. First, the appearance of the water wall will make the water spirit around Luo Hong appear abnormal. Although there is a water shield as a cover, it is still not safe. Second, at the edge of the water wall, the twists and turns of light will make the objects here look very awkward, and it is very easy for people with delicate minds to see the clues. After Luo Hong's thinking, he now quietly used the water control technique to condense many transparent water droplets that are difficult to see with the naked eye within a half-foot range around him when he attached the water shield. In this way, because of the similar shape, the water spirit will only appear slightly more, not abrupt, and the opponent will at most think that Luo Hong has used some high-level talisman. Moreover, if it is made into a hemispherical shape, it can work on enemies in 360 degrees, unlike the water wall which can only work on enemies in front. The awkwardness of the edge objects can also be weakened by the gradual change of the density of the water droplets. The essence and blood of a cultivator in the middle stage of key refining is enough for my bloodthirsty shuttle to have a full meal. If you have any last words, please say them quickly, or you will die soon. Seeing Luo Hong offering a shield-shaped magic weapon and making a gesture of defending to the end, the second brother of the evil cultivator wanted to disturb his mind with trash talk and induce him to reveal his flaws. His doing so may be effective for the novice cultivator, but if trash talk is also divided into realms, then Luo Hong is definitely at the nascent soul level. The second brother of the evil cultivator not only did not scare him, but he wanted to laugh a little. Humph, it is impolite not to return the favor. Luo Hong extended his right index finger and shouted with disdain, "Come here." Looking for death. The evil cultivator brother was immediately angry. The bloodthirsty shuttle circled around him and then left a trail of blood flying towards Luo Hong. You are angry now. You are just a key refining stage at best. Facing the bloodthirsty shuttle, a high-level magical weapon full of blood, Luo Hong was not panicked at all, because it was aimed at the position of the virtual image. However, in order to ensure that the opponent was a movie star, Luo Hong still prepared the turtle spirit shield to prevent sneak attacks. The accident did not happen. The bloodthirsty shuttle hit the virtual image directly and passed through the body. Here, Luo Hong also played a trick. He deliberately adjusted the position of the spirit turtle shield so that the virtual image's spirit turtle shield blocked the attack route of the bloodthirsty shuttle. In this way, the opponent could only see a slight fluctuation on the surface of the spirit turtle shield, but could not see the changes of the virtual image Luo Hong. The evil cultivator brother was dumbfounded. It was not his fault. After all, people would be like this every time they experience the first time. What happened? Was it an illusion? No, it shouldn't be. The boy's aura was clearly there, but why did my bloodthirsty shuttle pass through it, as if it didn't touch anything? Oh, he seemed to be thinking calmly. This evil cultivator still has some brains. I'll add fuel to the fire. Hey, your magic weapon is very weak. sharp-tongued kid. The second evil cultivator decided to try again from behind. The bloodthirsty shuttle flew backwards and shot at the vest of the virtual image Luo Hong. Luo Hong summoned his magic power to make the spirit turtle shield bigger and placed it horizontally to use the curvature of the turtle shell to cover his vest and chest. No matter how many times he attacked the virtual image, the result was the same. Seeing that the bloodthirsty shuttle returned in vain again, the second evil cultivator became a little anxious. Oh, that's it? Luo Hong's ridicule made him furious. People who have lost their minds are very likely to believe what they see. The bloodthirsty shuttle shot into the spirit turtle shield from one end and shot out from the other end, which made the second brother of the evil cultivator believe that Luo Hong was able to remain unscathed by his bloodthirsty shuttle because of the magical protective magic weapon in his hand. Let me see how much mana you have to make you arrogant. The more powerful the magic weapon, the more mana is needed to drive it. The second brother of the evil cultivator gave up thinking and prepared to use the mana far exceeding Luo Hong to wear him to death. For a while, the bloodthirsty shuttle flew up and down around Luo Hong's virtual image, making futile and crazy attacks. Luo Hong pretended to take out a piece of spiritual stone and hold it in his hand, making the opponent think that his mana was about to run out. In fact, maintaining a small spell like water control and keeping the spirit turtle shield floating in the air did not consume much. He secretly observed Yuang's side and saw that Yuang had gained the upper hand with the power of the diamond bell. If it were not for the evil cultivator's frequent use of the life-for-life fighting method, forcing Yuang's diamond bell to return to help, it is estimated that he would have been defeated at this time. I guess these two evil cultivators will change their tactics soon, and I have to do something to counter them. Luo Hong pinched an ordinary water bullet talisman between his fingers and began to chant a spell that he himself could not understand. Chapter 16 The secret is revealed. Ding. Another bell rang. The evil cultivator had already used the blood-burning secret technique, but he still had a splitting headache. He gritted his teeth and swallowed the blood foam in his mouth. The magic weapon of the Huangfeng Valley cultivator in front of him was much more difficult than he had imagined. Not only was the defense amazing, but every time the bloodthirsty shuttle collided with it, it would stir up a bell sound to hurt people. At first, it was nothing, but as the number of times increased, as he was more seriously injured, the power of the bell became stronger and stronger. He could no longer hold on. Damn it, what is the second brother doing? Exclamation mark. Why haven't you killed that waste in the middle stage of key refining? Exclamation mark. Second brother, come and help me. Hearing the eldest brother's urgent call, the evil cultivator's second brother finally stopped attacking randomly. He panted and said, "Little boy, you only rely on a turtle shell. Look, my eldest brother and I will kill your senior brother first, and then we will deal with you." After saying the harsh words, the evil cultivator's second brother took back the bloodthirsty shuttle and was about to besiege Yuang. No way, no way. Do you really think that I, who have this kind of top-grade protective magic weapon, will just stand there and take a beating? What do you mean? The second evil cultivator hesitated. Could this kid have another equally powerful attack magic weapon? Haha, look at the top of my head, so that you can die with a clear mind. The second evil cultivator glanced subconsciously, and this glance almost scared him out of his wits. He saw that a flaming fairy sword that was more than 10 feet long was spinning non-stop several feet above Luo Hong's head, and the more it spun, the larger the fairy sword became, as if it was accumulating power. Big brother, save me. The second evil cultivator lost all his will to fight, and turned around and ran away. Luo Hong looked at all this, and smiled as if his evil plan had succeeded. Behind him, the fiery sun sword was also spinning, but there was an extra lens created by the water control technique on top. Although the huge flaming fairy sword was just an illusion and there was no spiritual fluctuation at all, the first reaction of the second evil cultivator, who had already accepted the assumption that Luo Hong had a powerful magic weapon, was definitely to flee. Luo Hong knew that he couldn't deceive the other party for too long, so he shouted, "Brother, I'll help you." Giant sword technique. The giant flaming fairy sword shot down. At this time, the evil elder brother heard his second brother's cry for help and turned around. he happened to see the giant flaming fairy sword coming towards him, and his heart and liver were broken. Ah, second brother, save me. What a magic weapon. Brother Luo, let's work together to kill the enemy. Yuang was very excited, and his magic power surged, driving the diamond bell to hit the evil elder brother with all his strength. It is human instinct to choose the lesser of two evils. In a flash, the evil elder brother chose to defend against the giant flaming fairy sword. However, when the seemingly powerful flaming fairy sword approached him, it passed through the evil elder brother's body like a phantom. Is it an illusion? Not good. Just as the evil elder brother realized that he had been fooled, a huge force came from his right shoulder, and he was knocked away for dozens of feet with a bang. After finally getting up under the cover of the evil cultivator's second brother, he was only concerned with spitting blood, and basically lost his fighting power. Haha, junior brother Luo has a good plan, and even fooled me. This sneak attack was successful, and the two evil cultivators could no longer make a big wave. Yuang, who had been chased so badly just now, was very happy. Senior brother Yu, kill them quickly, or something will happen. Luo Hong urged Yuang to finish off the enemy. Wait, there are two auras approaching rapidly. Yuang was about to make the final blow, but suddenly looked up at the sky. Before he could finish his words, two figures fell to the ground one after another. It turned out that Li Mingjing was chasing an evil cultivator here. Third brother, my eldest brother is dying. Come and form a formation quickly. What? The third evil cultivator had no time to be shocked, and quickly formed a strange formation with the other two brothers. Thick black air surged out of them, forming a black air cover to protect the three of them. HMPH, you are resisting stubbornly. Elder Li, junior brother Luo, let's work together to kill these three evil cultivators in one fell swoop. Seeing Li Mingjing's arrival, Yuang was even more excited, and his desire to perform was instantly full. Luo Hong, however, raised his vigilance to the highest level. Xiangshan is so big, and without using the sound transmission sound to contact, it could be a coincidence that Yuang bumped into him, but not long after, he actually ran into Li Mingjing, who was chasing the evil cultivators. This could not be explained by a coincidence. Why is it like there is a GPS installed on me, and they are all gathering here one by one? Could it be? Luo Hong looked at the soul tablet hanging on his waist and suddenly came to his senses. He looked at Yuan Li, who had already sacrificed their magic weapons, and without time to think about it, he quickly took out 3 pieces of green talisman paper from his storage bag. These are the top grade talismans made by Luo Hong using green talisman paper and monster blood. Not only are they much more powerful than ordinary goods, but they can also be activated instantly. With the power of his fingertips, Luo Hong threw them out at random. The runes on the green talisman paper lit up for a moment, and then 3 water bullets flew out in a triangular shape, aiming at Li Xiao's great uncle. At the same time, Yuang had already smashed the diamond bell, and the green flying sword that Li Mingjing sacrificed slashed at the defenseless Yuang. Yuang glanced back and almost shut down his brain after realizing that the spiritual energy fluctuations behind him were not right. Junior brother Luo was attacking Elderly, and Elderly was attacking me, so should I attack junior brother Luo? Fortunately, Yuang's instinctive reaction was stronger than his brain, and he retracted the diamond bell in time to cover himself, so that Li Mingjing's flying sword only left a deep sword mark on the bell. On Li Mingjing's side, Luo Hong's sudden attack caught him off guard, but fortunately it was just a few water bullet talismans. Such a poor spell, even if I deal with it hastily, it's still useless. As a master of the 12th level of key refining, Li Mingjing's total mana is dozens of times that of Luo Hong, so he thought that he could easily resist Luo Hong's water bullets by just laying down a layer of spiritual energy shield. Unfortunately, his judgment of the power of these water bullets came from the conventional water bullet talisman, and Luo Hong also adjusted the dispersion of the 3 water bullets to increase their explosive power by 3 points. Therefore, although the water bullet entity was blocked by the spiritual energy shield, the cold air that burst out caused Li Mingjing to suffer a little loss. This round of thrilling game between the 3 ended with Luo Hong's small victory. After a successful attack, Luo Hong knew that he and Yuang were definitely not Li Mingjing's opponents in terms of actual combat power, so he was not going to give Li Mingjing any breathing space, and he was about to take out more top-grade water bullet talismans to attack. Although doing so might expose his ability to make talismans, making it more likely that Bai Qianatang would find out about him. In the face of a life and death crisis, Luo Hong could not care so much. However, just as Luo Hong was about to teach Li Mingjing a lesson with the water bullet talisman, a drastic change occurred without warning. The earth was shaking, and a black column of air shot up into the sky in the distance, changing the color of the sky in an instant. Luo Hong felt dizzy at first, and then his shoulders sank. The spirit turtle shield floating in front of him lost its spiritual energy, and fell to the ground like an ordinary object. The earth evil spray was so powerful. Chapter 17. The ultimate killing under the evil spirit. The evil turbidity was not only aimed at Luo Hong. In addition to the three evil brothers who were shrouded in the black air and their situation was unknown, Yu Guang and Li Mingjing were also greatly affected. The magic weapons they offered, like the spirit turtle shield, lost their spirituality in an instant, and fell to the ground like ordinary objects. Li Mingjing's flying sword stabbed down diagonally, almost piercing him through the heart. Yuang was even more unlucky. The diamond bell smashed into the ground several inches, and turned into a cage to trap him. Luo Hong was no longer able to complain about Yuang's unreliability. He was shocked at the moment, but it was not because of the appearance of the evil turbidity. This was something he had guessed long ago, but it just came at an unfortunate time. The real reason was that Luo Hong found that the spiritual energy in his meridians, used to maintain the internal spiritual pressure, had all escaped. This is why he suddenly felt his body sinking, even though he didn't have much meat on his body. Normally, the spiritual energy in these meridians would have a magical effect of lightening the body. Now that the spiritual energy is gone, the weight that was forgotten by the brain naturally returned. Under normal circumstances, the internal spiritual pressure of a cultivator will only be affected by the external spiritual pressure. However, the meridians of a cultivator have a certain protective effect on the spiritual energy in his body, so even if the external spiritual pressure is zero, the internal spiritual pressure of the cultivator will be maintained at least 1. The specific amount depends on the cultivation level. However, at this time, Luo Hong's meridians were empty, as if they had been sucked by a vacuum machine, and there was no spiritual energy left. The only explanation is that the external spiritual pressure around Luo Hong was negative, and it was very negative. Obviously, this was due to the influence of the turbid air of the earth. The same is true for the loss of control of the magic weapon. Their spiritual energy was also sucked out, and could not respond to the magic power of the cultivator. Without the magic weapon, the only way for the cultivator to fight is to cast spells and use talismans. Luo Hong tried to use the water bullet technique, and he immediately felt that the magic power in the meridians was dissipated by more than half at the moment it was transformed into spiritual energy, so that the water bullet technique he used with great skill actually failed. However, this also means that, as long as the output of mana is increased, even under negative external spiritual pressure, the cultivator can still use spells, but it will consume a lot of the cultivator's mana. It seems to be successful. Liu Jing has fallen into the gathering evil formation. He will be refined and absorbed by the old blood ghost in one day at most. Li Mingjing knew the overall plan of the foundation building evil cultivator. He defected from the Yellow Maple Valley this time, because he could not bear the torture of waiting for death every day, and decided to use the same method to sacrifice blood to the cultivators of the same level to prolong his life. The Li sisters, Yuang and Luo Hong were all the blood sacrifices he had set his eyes on. No matter how Li Mingjing and the old blood ghost came into contact, Li Mingjing had completely fallen into the evil way at this time. A sinister smile appeared on his wrinkled face, and the look he gave Luo Hong was like looking at the offerings on the altar. Don't struggle. Once Liu Jing dies, how can you be a match for the evil cultivator in the foundation building stage? Give up now, at least you can die less painfully. Brother Luo, is he telling the truth? Uncle Liu, Yuang and the Diamond Bell had believed Li Mingjing's threats. After all, if there were no evil cultivators in the foundation building stage, Li Mingjing would not have the courage to betray them. The scene of the gushing of the earthly evil was so horrifying, and he himself felt how much the turbid air of the earthly evil restrained the orthodox cultivators. Naturally, his confidence in Liu Jing was greatly reduced. Luo Hong did not reply. His idea was completely opposite to Yuang's. His confidence in Liu Jing increased instead of decreased. It can be refined in one day at most. Believe it or not, in half a minute at most, a firebird transformed by the real treasure will soar into the sky. However, with Li Mingjing's defection, Liu Jing would most likely not need to use the real treasure to kill this time. Because my most important influence in this whole matter was to help Liu Jing find the clue that Washan was Xiangshan. But since Li Mingjing is a traitor, he would have taken out this clue at the right time, even if I wasn't there, so the timeline didn't change enough to change the final outcome. Liu Jing didn't need to worry. Luo Hong had already initially adapted to the negative external spiritual pressure environment, and he wouldn't give Li Mingjing a chance to delay. He rushed straight towards Li Mingjing, while constantly activating the top-grade water bullet talisman. Facing Luo Hong's fierce attack, Li Mingjing's face turned pale. His body was old, and without the support of the spiritual energy in his meridians, it was actually a bit difficult for him to just stand. He wanted to scare Luo Hong with Liu Jing's death, but it had the opposite effect, forcing him to launch a desperate attack. Damn it, is this kid Liu Jing's illegitimate son? Li Mingjing cursed, and put a protective talisman on himself. He was about to cast a spell to attack, but he didn't expect that the spiritual energy shield he had just put on had already shown signs of failure under the bombardment of the water bullet. Impossible. The golden talisman I specially prepared is a primary mid-level talisman. How could it not withstand a few water bullets? However, this is the fact. Li Mingjing had to stop casting and take out another golden talisman to activate. Otherwise, even if it was only a primary low-level water bullet spell, it would be able to seriously injure him if it hit his flesh. The new golden talisman was even worse. Just now, Li Mingjing could at least recite 2 spells, but this time he had to change it again before he could even open his mouth. Li Mingjing immediately realized that something was wrong. He was so passive. If he used up his talismans before that kid, wouldn't he at least be hit by a water bullet? No, he had to find a way to interrupt that kid's attack. Brother Luo, you didn't listen to my kind words of advice. When that evil foundation building cultivator has dealt with Liu Jing, I will let him extract your soul and torture you. Humph, the feeling of having your soul tortured is the greatest pain in the world. You are interested in Xia King, right? I tell you that he has already been sacrificed by the old ghost, and his blood and essence have been drained. His death was horrible. Don't go too far, kid surnamed Luo. Do you really think that the talismans I have are not as good as you, a junior in the middle stage of key refining? Facing Li Mingjing's verbal offensive, Luo Hong didn't think of using trash talk to fight back. This old guy was cunning and sly, far from being comparable to that irritable evil cultivator. So the best response was to respond with silence. No matter what he said, Luo Hong would not slow down the action of activating the water bullet talisman, so that Li Mingjing became furious in the end. This was no different from the cry of a defeated dog in Luo Hong's ears. Before Li Mingjing's last protective talisman was broken, he was desperate and ignored the flying water bullets and tried to cast a spell. As a result, he was hit in the chest by 2 water bullets one after another. After Li Mingjing vomited blood and flew out, he lay on the ground and shivered in the cold air as if he had lost his fighting power. But Luo Hong was still worried, keeping a distance, and continued to activate the water bullet talisman, bombarding it wildly, until the ground where Li Mingjing was lying was blown away 3 feet, and the surroundings were frozen into a white ground. He reluctantly stopped. Chapter 18. Harming others will harm yourself. Standing at the edge of the frozen white ground, Luo Hong looked into the earth pit. Li Mingjing's body was already broken, but if he felt it carefully, he could still find a trace of his breath. How strong is this old guy's desire to live? Even in such a miserable state, he still used his magic power to protect his heart. Master, please. Please don't kill me. You can't kill me. Hand me over to the family elders for punishment. You are also a member of the Li family. You can't kill me. Li Mingjing hung on to his last breath, still not giving up persuading, muttering with a weak breath. In fact, what he said was not wrong. Logically speaking, Luo Hong should have stopped at this point. Li Mingjing was his fellow senior brother, and secondly, his family elder. If he decided life and death, it would indeed be against the rules. But since Luo Hong entered the world of immortal cultivation, whether it was cultivation or doing things, he never thought of following the rules. Since Li Mingjing had seen his fighting method of throwing talismans like dirt, Luo Hong had to kill him. He silently picked up Li Mingjing's flying sword magic weapon. Why? Where did I go wrong? You actually made so many preparations in advance. Feeling Luo Hong's cold murderous intent, Li Mingjing knew that he would definitely die today and roared in a flash of anger. Putting aside the huge number of water bullet talismans, Luo Hong's tactics that seemed to have been practiced thousands of times must not be explained by on-the-spot changes. Luo Hong continued to remain silent, and with a flick of his wrist, the flying sword passed through Li Mingjing's eyebrows and nailed him to the ground. At this time, Luo Hong, who had finished the knife, slowly gave the answer. I don't need to see through you in advance. I just need to think about how to kill you back all the time. Although it was the first time to kill someone to silence him, Luo Hong's heart did not waver. After all, it was Li Mingjing who had evil intentions towards him first. He believed in, if someone kills me, I will kill them indiscriminately. If he wants to silence irrelevant people in the future, Luo Hong frowned slightly. Humph, let's talk about the future later. The most important thing now is to deal with the 3 evil cultivators. However, what surprised Luo Hong was that before he could make a move, the black gas shield formed by the 3 evil cultivators had undergone a change. The surface of the black gas shield suddenly surged, and it collapsed in a moment, and the 3 evil cultivators hiding in it had died suddenly. After observing their deaths, Luo Hong found that they all died because of the bursting of their meridians. It is not difficult to guess that the death of these 3 evil cultivators is related to the dense earthly evil turbidity at this time. The black gas rising from the bodies of this group of evil cultivators during the battle is similar to the earthly evil turbidity, and the cultivation method they practice must be related to it. The evil sex cultivation method is famous for its powerful power, and it is also famous for being easy to go astray. The death of these 3 people is also retribution. After the enemies were all dead, Luo Hong began to collect the spoils, and the first one must be Li Mingjing's storage bag. The 3 evil cultivators' wealth combined is estimated to be less than 1/10 of Li Mingjing's. Low-level storage bags cannot recognize their owners, so Luo Hong directly probed into them with his spiritual consciousness and immediately figured out what was inside. 2 high-level magic tools, more than 10 bottles of various kinds of elixirs, a number of talismans, more than 100 spirit stones and some sundries. Luo Hong could not keep the magic tools privately and had to return them to the Li family after returning. He took a look and stopped paying attention to them. Among the elixirs, half of them were unexpectedly the kind that could help with cultivation. Luo Hong did not hesitate to put them all into his storage bag. As for the talismans, the high-level ones had been used up by Li Mingjing in the battle. At this time, Luo Hong could not help but think of how Li Mingjing used the intermediate-level talismans indiscriminately, but could not resist his low-level water bullet talismans. In fact, this was completely the effect of Li Mingjing on the turbid air of the earth, and he knew the result, but not the reason. Perhaps the old blood ghost told Li Mingjing that the turbid air of the earth would greatly increase the difficulty of orthodox cultivators to cast spells, so he prepared many elementary and intermediate talismans. But he didn't understand the specific principle of how the turbid earthly ki weakened the orthodox cultivators, so he didn't expect that the magic spells stimulated by the talisman would also be forced to be dispersed by the negative external spiritual pressure. Moreover, in this phenomenon of spiritual energy dispersion, high-level spells are more powerful than low-level spells, and the spiritual pressure difference is greater, so they will be dispersed more seriously. The spiritual energy distribution of protective spells is much wider than that of offensive spells, which will also aggravate the effect of dispersion. Therefore, it was not Luo Hong's water bullet talisman that broke through Li Mingjing's golden light shield, but the turbid earthly key that seemed to have done nothing. Although Luo Hong was not very interested in the last 100 spiritual stones, he still took half of them, otherwise he would feel uncomfortable if he won the battle, but still lost money. After this, Luo Hong only needed to hand over Li Mingjing's storage bag to the family, and with Liu Jing's support, those direct descendants of the Li family would not bother him with killing Li Mingjing. Next, Luo Hong was not so polite to the 3 evil cultivators. 3 small fire bombs burned them to ashes. After picking up some relics that caught his eye, Luo Hong threw his soul tablet next to the diamond bell, and then found a tree hole where he could see the diamond bell to hide. If there were more evil cultivators following him, Luo Hong would decide whether to launch a sneak attack depending on the situation. Senior brother Yu, please be the bait. You are safe inside the bell anyway. On the demon spider peak, outside the gathering evil formation, the evil cultivator Zulaogi and the foundation establishment stage continuously transferred mana into the gathering evil formation, and the surrounding earthly evil turbid air formed a huge vortex, pouring into the formation continuously. Boy from Huangfeng Valley, I will not stop until I refine you completely as flesh and blood, soul, and spirit with my devouring evil technique. How does it feel to be powerless and wait for death? Do you understand my pain? Liu Jing did not want to understand, nor did he need to understand. At this moment, a black bead floated in front of his chest, and all the turbid air of the earth was absorbed by it before it touched Liu Jing's body. Fortunately, I have the demonic evil bead given by my master, otherwise it would be really troublesome. This demonic evil bead was obtained by Li Huoyan when he killed a 4th level, equivalent to a cultivator in the late stage of foundation building, Black Demon Python many years ago. He could not use the property of this bead to absorb and swallow evil, so he gave it to his 3rd disciple Liu Jing, who was against the evil cultivators. Liu Jing never used this bead once after he got it, but he did not expect that the first use would save his life. As the hours passed, the face of the old ghost outside the evil gathering array became more and more ugly, with sweat on his forehead and an empty dungeon. He was close to the edge of exhaustion, but the boy in the evil gathering array was as strong as pure gold, with no sign of being refined. Impossible. No righteous cultivator can persist in the turbid air of the earthly evil for so long. This is absolutely impossible. No matter how the old ghost shouted, the fact is the fact. Once the evil swallowing skill is activated, there must be death. Either Liu Jing will be refined, or he will be drained of everything by his own skills and die. When the earthly evil eruption of the demon spider peak ended this year, Liu Jing broke through the formation and walked out. After all, he failed to save those mortals, which made him very unhappy. At his feet, the extremely terrifying corpse of the old ghost shrank into a ball. Liu Jing snorted coldly, imitated Luo Hong to shoot a small fireball, and burned the corpse to get the treasure. Then he sighed and flew away. Harming others will eventually harm yourself. Chapter 19, Asking for Evil Power. Under the starry night, Liu Jing stood on the spirit boat, holding the soul tablet, and searching deeply with his spiritual sense. Soon, he found a secret forbidden seal, which was what Li Mingjing did. Liu Jing was not a stupid person. The evil leader wanted to force him into a trap, so he had to let him run into the blood sacrifice not long after it started, so there must be something on him that revealed his whereabouts. Combined with what the evil leader said before, it is not difficult to guess that there is a traitor among the 3 key refining disciples of the Yellow Maple Valley, and then think that there is a problem with the soul tablet. At this time, the soul fire in the soul tablet is pointing downwards, which is obviously where the Li sisters are, but Liu Jing is more worried about the safety of Luo Hong and Yueying, so after solving the mystery of the soul tablet, he used its tracking effect to rush to the direction of the 2. The other 3 soul tablets are all gathered in one place, and there is no sign of movement. What happened? With doubts, Liu Jing flew to the location of the 3 soul tablets after half an incense stick. I saw a golden bell hanging on the ground, with a faint breath coming from it, and not far away was the body of Li Mingjing, who looked like he had been pierced through the forehead by a very powerful water magic. 3 soul tablets, why are there only 2 people? His doubts were soon answered by the shouts coming from below. As soon as Luo Hong sensed Liu Jing's pure magic breath, the big stone hanging in his heart finally fell to the ground. Uncle Liu, you are finally here. Has that evil foundation building cultivator been killed by you? Luo Hong controlled the Qinghai magic weapon and went up to meet him. Haha, it seems that Li Mingjing told you a lot before he died. Yes, that evil foundation building cultivator reaped what he sowed, and he couldn't die anymore. The two came to the side of Li Mingjing's body, and Liu Jing nodded and praised, Nephew Luo, you are decisive, but it's a pity to waste a high-level talisman. It's related to Master's family affairs. I can't make a decision on my own, but I can guarantee that Nephew will not be burdened by this matter. The cultivator from the Li family betrayed Huangfeng Valley and intended to harm the foundation building predecessors in the sect. If it were to be spread out, it would definitely cause a storm, and Li Huoyuan's face would be greatly damaged. According to Liu Jing's understanding of his master, this matter would definitely be handled internally, punishing a group of people and rewarding a group of people. At that time, I will say a few words for Nephew Luo, so as to make up for his loss of talismans. Seeing that Luo Hong did not embezzle Li Mingjing's storage bag, Liu Jing couldn't help but have such thoughts in his mind. After the cracks in the demon spider peak stopped erupting, the turbid air quickly sank to the ground, and the spiritual energy of the heaven and earth around Xiangshan returned, with a sense of freshness of getting rid of the old and welcoming the new. Luo Hong's internal spiritual pressure returned to normal, and the diamond bell was also eagerly absorbing the spiritual energy of the gold element. Brother Yu, the turbid air of the earth is gone. You can drive the diamond bell out, Brother Yu. Luo Hong slapped the wall of the bell and shouted, but got no response. Looking at the mouth of the bell, that fit tightly with the ground, Luo Hong was shocked. Could it be that Yu Ying had been suffocated to death due to lack of oxygen? Exclamation mark. Liu Jing also noticed something was wrong, and after blessing himself with the giant force technique, he pushed down the upright diamond bell. Yu Ying fell to the ground unconscious, but his chest was still rising and falling. Obviously he just fainted. Fortunately, he was a cultivator and could use his magic power to keep himself alive. If it were a mortal, he would have been suffocated to death long ago. 0101 hold me for a while. Just hold me for a while. Yu Ying was talking nonsense. Liu Jing's face became visibly gloomy, and Luo Hong shook his head helplessly. Senior brother Yu, you are always good at being funny. Half a day later, in the mountain village where the old man lived, a table of delicious dishes was set up in the yard where Luo Hong had eaten before. Except for Li Xiaoran, who was bedridden due to injury, Li Xiaoking, Yu Ying, Luo Hong and Liu Jing all sat around to taste the cooking skills of the old man's daughter-in-law. Well, father-in-law, the spiritual wine you brewed is really good. Come on, another cup. Yu Ying hadn't eaten fireworks for a long time. He drank 3 cups in a row before savoring the taste of rice wine. As long as the immortal likes it, I will fill it up for you right away. The old man was very happy. Originally, his daughter-in-law should be responsible for pouring the wine, but his disappointing son showed a silly look when he saw the Li sisters. At this time, his daughter-in-law was grabbing his son's ears and scolding him. Brother Luo, Xia King offers you a toast. Thank you for your rescue. Somehow, Li Xiaoking's attitude towards Luo Hong changed drastically, and she even blushed when she looked at Luo Hong. At this time, Yu Ying winked at Luo Hong, as if his brother could only help her so far, which made Luo Hong smile bitterly. Junior sister, you are welcome. It was Uncle Liu who saved you. Brother Yu and I didn't do anything. Luo Hong knew that, if he took the initiative now, he would most likely take advantage of Li Xiaoking's unstable state of mind after surviving a disaster to win her heart. But one reason was that Luo Hong had a bad impression of Li Xiaoking, and the other was that he didn't want to feel sad in front of the beautiful woman's bones in the future. So, he drank the toast, but his attitude was lukewarm. Hey, junior brother Luo, it's fine if you just talk about yourself, but why do you bring me along? Junior sister Xiaoking, I've been through life and death to save you. When your sister recovers, you have to talk to her for me. Yu Ying was immediately unhappy when he heard Luo Hong say that. He was counting on this time to be a hero and win the beauty. Hey, senior brother, you've said it several times, and I've agreed several times. Don't worry about your sister. Li Ziraking's cute little face showed a trace of worry. Yuang made her bear the pressure that she shouldn't bear at her age. No, you haven't agreed this time. You have to agree to me again. Otherwise I will feel uneasy. Come on, do it again. Yuang, who turned into a dog, entangled with Li Ziraking. Seeing that Liu Jing was in a good mood at this time, Luo Hong made a request that had been weighing on his mind for many days. What? Junior brother Luo, do you want to see the exercises practiced by those evil cultivators? Liu Jing was a little suspicious whether he had heard it wrong. Uncle Master, you took the storage bag of the evil foundation building cultivator, so you must have gotten the technique. Liu Jing's reaction was expected, and Luo Hong made another request. Yes, there is, but if you want to see the techniques practiced by the foundation building cultivators, you can ask me for it. You don't have to use the evil techniques of the evil cultivators to satisfy your curiosity. Liu Jing didn't want to let the younger generation he had high hopes for go astray. This was Luo Hong. If it was someone else, Liu Jing would definitely teach him a lesson or even take action. Uncle Master, don't worry. I will never give up the right path to practice evil techniques. It's just that I'm really curious about the evil turbid air and want to explore how the evil cultivators control it. Luo Hong spoke from the bottom of his heart. If the evil turbid air could be used, it could become a decisive weapon in a large-scale war between low-level cultivators. I beg you to help me. I will start doing scientific research tomorrow. I'm looking for recommendations and investment. The contract has been sent out. Chapter 20. The extracorporeal circulatory system of the meridians. Liu Jing was silent for a moment, then picked up the wine glass and drank it all. I see. Junior brother Luo is planning to know both ourselves and the enemy, right? To deal with evil cultivators, you really need to know these things. If I hadn't had a rare treasure given by Master, I would have almost fallen. It's okay to just watch, but don't try to practice out of curiosity. Otherwise, once you take the first step, it will be difficult to turn back. Liu Jing warned, while handing over to Jade Slips. 2. Is this evil skill divided into 2 volumes? Jade Slips can store a lot of information. If a skill requires 2 Jade Slips to store, it must be a huge work. This one contains the evil skill called swallowing evil skill, and the other one contains the bloody secret method practiced by the evil cultivator. Since I, Liu Jing, have chosen to trust you, I will trust you to the end. I will give you these 2 Jade Slips. Take them. Luo Hong was a little moved. He took the 2 Jade Slips in his hands, clasped his fists and saluted, saying, the junior will definitely live up to the trust of the uncle. After dinner, Liu Jing continued to treat Li Zirao's injuries. Li Ziraking helped, and Yuang was busy repairing the diamond bell. Seeing that no one was disturbing him, Luo Hong sat down on a big rock in a secluded place outside the village, put the jade slip containing swallowing evil skill on his forehead, and then probed his spiritual sense to read it. After half a day of comprehension, Luo Hong finally breathed a sigh of relief, opened his eyes, and looked a little disappointed. Swallowing evil skill is just like its name. The practitioner must absorb the turbid air of the earth, and then refine it into special magic power, to control the turbid air of the earth to a certain extent. Moreover, unlike spiritual energy, that can nourish the body of a cultivator, the turbid air of the earthly evil is harmful to the body of a cultivator. Long-term contact will reduce the lifespan of the cultivator. Therefore, there are many evil techniques in the devouring evil technique that use blood sacrifices to forcibly prolong the life of the cultivator. No wonder few cultivators from ancient times to the present have touched the turbid air of the earthly evil, because it turns out that this thing can really kill people. What a pity. I originally thought of using the property of the earthly evil air to create a strong negative spiritual pressure. I placed a highly concentrated earthly evil air at the center of the spiritual energy in my body to create a huge spiritual pressure difference, forcibly absorbing the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to the body, forming a huge external spiritual pressure, and then increasing the internal spiritual pressure in the meridians, so that my spiritual pressure cultivation method can enter a new era without the help of elixirs. But now it seems that, if I really do this, I'm afraid I will be killed by the earthly evil air first. Even if there is a way to resist the harm of the earthly evil air, it is not something that I, a key refining stage with a lifespan of only 100 years, can afford to study. At present, the only use of the earthly evil air is to create a negative spiritual pressure environment when doing certain experiments. Putting away the swallowing evil power jade slip, Luo Hong read another jade slip with a dull look, and soon his expression changed dramatically. First he was ecstatic, then confused, and finally became extremely excited. It's true that, if you plant flowers with care, they won't bloom, but if you plant willows by accident, they will grow into shade. This secret method called burning blood totem actually contains the secret of building an extracorporeal meridian circulation. According to the records in the jade slip, the process of practicing the burning blood totem is very painful. The cultivator must force his own blood essence into a specific meridian, and then use the magic power to circulate in the meridian for a week, and then force the blood essence out of the body to form a totem-like spiritual pattern. Luo Hong felt that this process was not right at first glance. Thinking carefully, isn't this just doing woodblock printing? The blood essence of the cultivator is the ink, the meridians are the woodblock, and the skin is the paper. This secret method is to use a simple and crude method to copy the entire meridian circuit onto the body surface, to form a set of artificial extracorporeal meridian circuits. This is simply wonderful. What made Luo Hong tremble with excitement was naturally not the crude and brainless copying method in the secret method, but the idea, provided by the creator of the secret method. For Luo Hong, this is tantamount to opening the door to a new world. Because no one knows better than him that the silver runes hidden in the meridians are the root of all mysteries, and he is capable of researching more advanced totem spirit patterns. Who don't get too excited first, let's explore the secret method in depth. In addition to the specific cultivation method of the burning blood totem, the jade slip also records a few things to know before practicing. Luo Hong summarized them. The first one, the secret method can be practiced in stages, and several meridians can be cultivated at a time, and finally integrated into one, and then it can be completed. This is a very good idea, which greatly increases the stages of cultivation applicable to this secret method. More importantly, it has sufficient growth potential. Luo Hong likes this design very much, and decides to copy it down, and make it his own. The second one, after a stage of cultivation, the totem will operate on its own, and the practitioner cannot stop it. If the totem's needs cannot be supplemented, the totem will backfire on the practitioner. It's stupid not to be able to control the switch. This is probably the fundamental reason why those evil practitioners have to drink human blood every day. This must be improved. So why does this problem occur? In fact, it is easy to understand. The meridians were compared to a processing plant before, and now I will continue this metaphor. The meridian system of a cultivator is a super complex processing plant. As long as the right production line is found, and the right materials are put in, it can do almost anything, and has a perfect management system. The simulation of the totem is quite poor. It is like a cultivator has built a small processing plant in an uncontrollable overseas. Not only does it produce a single product, but the management is unwilling to go there, and is in a state of disconnection. Because the instructions received before the disconnection were to produce as much as possible, it accepted orders and worked hard. At this time, the main factory can only keep supplying materials to it. When it exceeds a certain limit, the main factory will be dragged down by it. It is such a well understood concept. A switch must be added to the totem, otherwise the risk is too great. Luo Hong just wrote this down in his notes, and his thoughts diverged again, so he added, if possible, set up an overload switch to deal with emergencies. The third rule, activating the totem for a long time will drain the cultivator's essence and blood, and he will definitely die. Because this rule has the word death, Luo Hong thought about it the most seriously. The usual function of the totem is to accumulate energy used for activation during continuous operation. When the totem is activated, it is running in reverse, quickly converting the usual accumulation into the temporary mana limit of the cultivator, thereby playing the role of temporarily increasing the cultivation. The evil cultivator who created the burning blood totem chose to use the blood essence as a reserve energy, which is really quite stupid. Of course, He may not have much choice, and probably thinks it is good to have something to use. If Luo Hong had to choose, he must choose the one that is most convenient to replenish, and the least noticeable. After all, it is a secret method. HMM. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth seems to be very good. Chapter 21, The difficulty of spiritual materials. The method of using one's own blood essence to rub the meridians is not applicable to all meridians. Many meridians cannot be penetrated by blood essence at all. Most of those that can enter are very fragile. Doing it recklessly is equivalent to self-harm. If we reverse the process, we can judge that the silver runes hidden in the meridians rubbed by the burning blood totem must be related to the blood path. Luo Hong wrote this down for the time being. If he studies the blood path in the future, it may come in handy. As for me, since I know the secret of silver runes, as long as I can understand the silver runes of the selected meridian circuit, I can skip the step of rubbing and directly draw the spiritual pattern on the body surface. This process is actually no different from making a talisman. It is just more complicated. The biggest advantage of using blood essence as material is that I don't have to work hard to create a connection between me and the spiritual pattern, that is, the logistics channel between the main factory and the branch factory. After all, it is my own blood, and the channel is natural. But this is not particularly important, because there is a very widely spread secret method in the world of immortal cultivation, blood refining, which can force immortal cultivators to establish a connection with some spiritual objects. The great sword with silver essence that Han Lao Mo got in the blood ban trial was made using blood refining. Therefore, the choice of materials for drawing spiritual patterns is very large. If the choice is good, it will greatly improve the effectiveness of the totem secret method I created in the end. It's still at this step. Almost all scientific research results must go through a hurdle from theory to practice. Material. In order to find a suitable material for spiritual patterns, you must first know what requirements this material must meet. First, because this material is similar to the talisman ink used to make talismans, the mana and spiritual energy must have good fluidity. Since mana is another form of spiritual energy, the physical properties of the two are often the same, so Luo Hong only considers the mana fluidity, which is easier to observe. Mana fluidity is a new term created by Luo Hong in talisman making, which reflects the obstruction of mana flowing in spiritual objects. The larger the value, the less obstructed it is. This is a bit like the relationship between electricity and resistance in concept, but there is a huge difference in reality. Mana and electricity are not the same thing. For example, the mana fluidity of cinnabar is about less than 2, so the inferior talismans made by Luo Hong with only 2 mana will be activated after a delay of moment. If more mana is used, the delay time will also increase accordingly, but there will be no loss of mana. If it is replaced with electricity and resistance, some of the electrical energy will definitely be converted into heat energy at this time. The mana fluidity required for spiritual pattern materials does not need to be very large, it only needs to reach the mana production capacity limit of the meridians, and it is of course best to leave room for overload. The materials that meet this condition are not difficult to find. Those high-level demon blood inks have high mana circulation. As long as there are enough spirit stones, it is not difficult to obtain them. But the spirit pattern materials need to meet another requirement, which is not so common. Since Luo Hong wants to use the spiritual energy of heaven and earth instead of blood energy as the raw material of the totem spirit pattern processing factory, the spirit pattern materials must have a certain ability to absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. The biggest difference between the meridians printed by the totem spirit pattern and the real meridians is that one is 2-dimensional and the other is 3-dimensional. The 3-dimensional one has internal spiritual pressure. After the spiritual energy in the meridians is converted and absorbed, the spiritual energy from the outside will automatically fill in. The 2-dimensional totem spirit pattern cannot do this, so it needs to be able to attract spiritual energy. It is not easy to meet these two conditions at the same time. Luo Hong decided to go to the market again before the Yellow Maple Valley to buy some spiritual materials to do experiments. Although there are no spiritual materials at the moment, Luo Hong is not idle. He still has to comprehend the silver runes he has selected to print the meridians. That's right, Luo Hong has already selected the Meridian Circuit to be printed in the first phase of the project. This choice is very simple. Since we need to transform the spiritual energy of heaven and earth, there is no better choice than the meridians that run the basic exercises. The basic exercises that Luo Hong practices are just the most common Zhao Shu Yuan Gong. Except for being a water-based exercise, it is no different from Changchun Gong. The meridians that run are all large meridians of the whole body, without any small branches. Although simple, it includes the limbs, trunk and head of the human body in one cycle, and it will not affect any exercises in the future. Similarly, this set of meridian circuits as the first phase of the extracorporeal meridian circulation system is very conducive to the later transformation work, ensuring the growth of the secret method. In addition, this is also Luo Hong's choice, based on his own ability. The silver runes are obscure and difficult to understand. If they are hidden in the meridians, they will not appear unless they encounter mana. Even Luo Hong cannot read all the silver runes in a set of meridian circuits in a short time. Choosing the meridians that run the basic exercises can allow him to practice and comprehend at the same time, which greatly saves time costs. In this way, Luo Hong comprehended the silver runes while meditating and practicing. He didn't know the time passed, and it was the next morning in a blink of an eye. Quick, brothers, check your stuff. We must succeed this time. Luo Hong was awakened by the sound of guns and blades colliding. He thought it was another bandit coming to rob, but when he opened his eyes, he saw Zhao Shitao, a mountain villager. Zhao Shitao and the surrounding mountain villagers were all wearing hunting clothes, carrying dry food and water bags, and were obviously going to hunt in the mountains. The immortal who saved our entire village is now living in the village chief's house. If we want to repay him, we must hunt a red spider this time, and take its beads, to make immortal wine for the immortals. If you are afraid of death, you can't enjoy the immortal blessing. Let's go. Let's go. Brew immortal wine and enjoy the immortal blessing. Enjoy the immortal blessing. Enjoy the immortal blessing. The mountain villagers led by Zhao Shitao were excited and wanted to sacrifice their lives for Luo Hong and others. Luo Hong felt a little uncomfortable watching from the side. It's true that cultivating immortals is a science, but the immortal blessing mentioned by these mountain villagers is just an illusory superstition. The old man said that hunting Dan spiders is a very dangerous action. Luo Hong didn't want to see someone harm his life because of superstition. I will go to hunt Dan spiders myself. You don't have to follow me. Luo Hong suddenly appeared, which scared the mountain people. After they reacted, they knelt on the ground with sad faces. Please give us a chance to repay the favor. Get up, you don't have the fate of immortals. Forcing will only hurt yourself. Live a peaceful life. Luo Hong deliberately spoke cruelly, to put an end to their unrealistic thoughts. He waved his sleeves, and used the agitated magic power to help them up. Then, without giving them a chance to beg, he put on the Kingai magic weapon, and flew to the demon spider peak. The beads made by the Dan spider are also considered a kind of spiritual material. It is really good for brewing spiritual wine. Since he came across it, Luo Hong didn't want to miss it. How does this magic power spread? Is it a wave, a particle, or something else? I need to think about it carefully. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22: The Truth About the Dan Spider. The Demon Spider Peak is the eruption site of the turbid gas of the earthly evils. At this time, the spiritual energy has reversed and turned from bad to good, becoming the place with the most abundant spiritual energy among the many peaks of Xiangshan. However, these spiritual energies have no spiritual veins to support them, and will eventually dissipate until the earthly evils erupt next year, and this cycle will never end. Luo Hong flew above the treetops, searching for the figure of the Dan spider with his eyes, and soon he got something. He saw a giant 8-legged spider about half a foot tall and 10 feet long and wide eating leaves slowly. Even if Luo Hong deliberately made some noise after approaching, it did not have any stress reaction. After observing for a while, it was basically the same as the description of the little old man, with great strength but slow movements. Thick skin and flesh are only from the perspective of mortals. Luo Hong used the cold moon blade to easily cut off one leg of the dance spider. After being hurt, the dance spider became angry, trying to attack Luo Hong while stomping on the ground with its long legs. After a while, Luo Hong vaguely heard the same rhythm of stomping on the ground from a distance. It turned out that it was calling for its companions. Most of the old man's casualties were caused by the siege of the dance spiders. I don't care. Dance spiders have no anti-air capabilities, so it's useless, no matter how many of them come. After probing clearly, Luo Hong immediately drove the cold moon knife and was about to chop off the dance spider's head. However, at the moment of attack, he suddenly stopped and stared blankly at the lines on the dance spider's back, feet and torso. Why is there a shadow of silver runes? Luo Hong couldn't believe it. He put away the cold moon knife and observed several dance spiders that came to help. He found that the lines on their bodies were like they were carved out of the same mold. Whether it is an animal or an insect, as long as it reproduces naturally, this situation cannot occur. The only explanation is that these dance spiders have been artificially modified, and the time is so long that the traces of artificiality have been hidden in the reproduction of dance spiders from generation to generation. According to Li Zian, she found a clue to the cave of an ancient cultivator in an ancient book, so she came here to seek opportunities. When they got here, they found that the cave house existed, but it had been taken by someone else. Not only did they not get the relics of the ancient cultivators, but they were also attacked by the evil cultivators. Needless to say, the ancient book must have something to do with Li Mingjing for Li Zian to get it. Li Mingjing was already dead, so there was no point in investigating. Luo Hong was concerned about the patterns on the dance spiders. If he guessed correctly, it was the ancient evil cultivator who realized the burning blood totem who tampered with these dance spiders. Obviously, this ancient evil cultivator also saw the drawbacks of the secret method he created, and the dance spiders were his attempt. Luo Hong believed that the evil cultivator who could create his own secret method would not do it without a purpose. The dance spider must contain the secret to improve the burning blood totem, but he has not found it yet. If those lines are really the burning blood totem, how did these spiders survive? Eating vegetarian food cannot replenish blood and ki. The burning blood totem, that cannot be replenished, will continue to extract the blood and ki of the spider itself. This is undoubtedly a dead end. The cold light of the Lengaiu knife flashed, and the legless spider was killed immediately. Luo Hong took the beads in its belly into his hand. He repeatedly used his spiritual sense to sense and investigate, but only found that the beads were actually highly condensed spider silk, and the concentration of spiritual energy was not high. Looking at the body of the spider that was split in half, the exposed organs and blood-like liquid were all crystal clear, which was in great contrast to the ugly and rough appearance of the spider. Looking at this corpse, a sense of contradiction lingered in Luo Hong's heart. How can there be no blood and ki? Blood and ki are the foundation of the burning blood secret method. No matter how much the ancient evil cultivator improved it, it would be impossible to jump over it. At present, there is not a trace of blood and ki in the bodies of these spiders. Upon closer inspection, it is actually spiritual ki that is flowing. But this dance spider is not a demon beast. No matter from which angle you look at it, it is very unnatural. It should be a blood-burning totem that absorbs blood and ki, a dance spider without blood and ki, and a bead with only a little spiritual energy. What is the relationship between these three? Luo Hong was thinking hard and suddenly felt that the spiritual energy around him had changed slightly. He opened the sky eye technique and saw that the spiritual energy was slowly but continuously approaching the body of the dance spider. What is this? Could it be? Luo Hong drove the cold moon knife to pierce the spider leg he cut off first and brought it back in front of him. He immediately found that the transparent viscous liquid flowing out of the wound was the source of the change in spiritual energy. Luo Hong took out a low-level spiritual stone and slowly approached it. When it was close to a certain extent, the spiritual energy siphon effect suddenly appeared. The spiritual energy in the spiritual stone was absorbed by these liquids at a very fast speed, and after more than 10 breaths, it became a pile of waste. and the liquid that absorbed the spiritual energy immediately showed the characteristics of spiritual materials, with a faint stream of light on the surface. So that's how it is. I understand. It's really a miracle of life. Based on the purpose of the ancient evil cultivator, Luo Hong boldly guessed that the Dan spider must have been a monster famous for its strong blood in ancient times. The ancient evil cultivator forcibly attached the burning blood totem to the ancient Dan spider, using their strong blood to condense blood beads to help him practice his own secret method. After the ancient evil cultivator died, the ancient Dan spider began a long journey of evolution to escape the unnatural selection caused by the burning blood totem on its body, using spiritual energy to replace the original blood. However, the burning blood totem is extremely overbearing. Once it starts running, it cannot be stopped. Without blood, it will extract everything it can, and spiritual energy becomes its first choice. This process is like using wind-powered electricity to boil water. The wind energy must first be converted into electrical energy, and then the electrical energy is converted into heat energy. The burning blood totem's extraction of spiritual energy is far less than that of blood. Therefore, during the evolution, the Dan spiders gave their blood a powerful ability to absorb spiritual energy, allowing it to compete with the burning blood totem for spiritual energy. The blood beads that were originally condensed and could be the treasures of the evil ways have now become ordinary wine-making pills. How many ancient monsters were exterminated in the ancient catastrophe of spiritual energy depletion, but these Dan spiders have survived to this day because of a disaster from the ancient evil cultivators. Although they have changed from monsters with extremely strong bodies to wild beasts that can be hunted by mortals, for a species, this is a victory. The way in which misfortune and blessing depend on each other is really wonderful. Although he sighed, Luo Hong did not hesitate to collect the blood of Dan spiders. His intuition told him that the mana flow of this thing was absolutely off the charts. After all, the foundation of ancient monsters was not covered. Dan spiders are large in size, but there is very little blood in their bodies. Luo Hong killed 5 of them before he could fill 3 large jade bottles. Afterwards, Luo Hong specially found a nest of Dan spider eggs and took them away. He thought that if he could remove the deep-rooted burning blood totem in them, he might be able to reproduce the peerless ferocity of this ancient monster. Before leaving, Luo Hong bowed to the demon spider peak from afar. This ancient evil cultivator was definitely not a good person, but he did benefit a lot from it. Senior, your secret method and Dan spider are very good. Now they are all mine. Chapter 23, Each of Our Future Paths. A few days later, in an inn in the Huangfeng Valley Market, several late-stage key refining elders who were the current stewards of the Li family were sweating and apologizing to Liu Jing. Li Huoyuan had no direct descendants, and those who were closely related to him in the Li family had already passed away. Compared with several distant blood relatives and low-level Li family members, he was closer to his own disciples and more useful. These stewards of the Li family could not imagine how angry their ancestor would be when he learned that some Li family members had colluded with evil cultivators to murder his disciples, so they begged Liu Jing to plead for them with the ancestor. It is not convenient for me to interfere in Master's family affairs. All I can do is report the truth and be impartial. Master will make the rest. Junior sister Li still needs to rest. You take her back and take good care of her. I will stay in the market for a few more days. Junior sister Luo will stay to serve me. You can ask him about Li Mingjing's death. Liu Jing pointed at Yu Ying, who was sticking to Li Zhaoan like a dogskin plaster, and made it clear that he wanted to protect Luo Hong. It was good enough to promise to be impartial. Several Li family managers were afraid of angering Liu Jing, and did not dare to have any opinions. They were not dissatisfied with Luo Hong killing Li Mingjing in the first place. It should be said that they were the ones who wanted to kill Li Mingjing the most. What spiritual objects does junior sister Liu want to buy? I can do it for him. Watching the Li sisters and Yu Ying leave, thinking about the Huanglangdan in the storage bag, Luo Hong knew that this rescue operation had come to an end. After returning, he would have to practice hard for a long time. It would be a good choice to take a good look at the market and gain knowledge. Tomorrow, I will attend a private trade fair for foundation building cultivators. You can go with me to broaden your horizons. If you have the ability, you can find a way to prepare some spiritual stones. There will be some rare elixirs and spiritual medicines. Trade fairs at the foundation building level are rare, so don't miss them. After explaining, Liu Jing left the inn alone. The place he was going to was not affordable for key refining cultivators, and he didn't want Luo Hong to waste time with him. However, Liu Jing didn't know that with Luo Hong's financial resources, the spiritual stones at the foundation building level would at most make him feel a little painful. Generally speaking, if a cultivator at the key refining stage has hundreds of low-level spiritual stones, it will attract the envy of cultivators of the same level, and it may even cause a disaster. If a cultivator at the foundation building stage has 600 or 700 spiritual stones in his storage bag, he dares to attend the auction. If he has 1,000 or 2,000 spiritual stones, then basically no one can compete for the spiritual objects at the foundation building level. Those who can take out tens of thousands of spiritual stones at once must be either medium-sized forces or wealthy giant unstage cultivators. If Li Huoyuan had 20,000 spiritual stones on him, he would be able to speak with more confidence in front of cultivators of the same level. Of course, this is only talking about spiritual stones. Many truly rare spiritual objects are only accepted for barter. Spiritual stones cannot define the entire wealth of a cultivator. The higher the level of cultivation, the more so. In the market of Huangfeng Valley, spiritual objects that reach the top level of magic tools can become the treasure of a large store. But if you buy these treasures, it will attract great attention from others. Luo Hong's spiritual stones are not from a legitimate source, so he will not take this risk. Despite this, Luo Hong still gained a lot after a day of strolling in the market. He bought low-level spiritual objects that are inconspicuous. The quantity of each is not large, but it almost includes all the types that can be bought in the market. I probably spent nearly 1,000 spiritual stones on these low-level spiritual objects. Even a cultivator in the foundation building stage cannot afford such a price easily. However, by studying their physical properties, I can take the first crucial step in my cultivation of physics. Before joining the Yellow Maple Valley, Luo Hong had done several sets of comparative experiments with several pieces of ordinary iron and spiritual iron. After calculation, ordinary iron and spiritual iron are exactly the same in appearance, density and specific heat capacity, but there is a huge gap in acid resistance, hardness, melting point and cold resistance. Taking acid resistance as an example, although ordinary iron and spiritual iron showed signs of corrosion when immersed in the same acid solution, the corrosion rate of spiritual iron was more than 10 times slower than that of ordinary iron. Similar differences were found in subsequent melting, cold resistance and other experiments. In ancient books, there are often records that ordinary iron, or is transformed into spiritual iron, or after being infected by spiritual energy for a long time, because of the diversion of spiritual veins. Luo Hong has to admit that spiritual energy can affect the atomic level of matter, or the more microscopic and basic particle level, so that spiritual energy can greatly affect the physical properties of a substance. So Luo Hong made a guess. Spiritual energy in the microscopic world is in the state of lepton, which has the property of being able to attach to almost all atoms. It is extremely difficult to study lepton, whether it is the time spent or the spiritual stone. It will be a daunting number. But the benefits behind the difficulties are so huge that Luo Hong will persist no matter what, because once there is a result, it is equivalent to opening the door to microscopic cultivation, and he is only half a step away from touching the root of the mortal world. In recent years, my primary goal is to pave the way for my own foundation, and my secondary goal is to complete the first phase of the extracorporeal meridian circulation project. Researching spirit particles is a super long-term goal. At present, the main focus is on collecting relevant data, and it cannot affect the primary and secondary goals. After sorting out his chaotic thoughts, Luo Hong nodded at the notebook with the ink not yet dried. He had a clearer direction for his future path. In the evening, Liu Jing returned to the inn with a disappointed look on his face. He visited several secret shops in a row today, but got nothing. He could only pin his hopes on tomorrow's trade fair. But when he thought of the trade fair, his face changed from disappointment to gloomy. I didn't expect that even people from Yanyu sect and Lingshao mountain would come this time. Although I don't know what treasures they are for, they will definitely fight for the spiritual medicines and elixirs I need. In this way, the spiritual stones I prepared are not enough. Liu Jing hesitated for a moment, but in the end he couldn't let go of this once in a decade opportunity, and turned around, and left the inn again. No, I must get a few pills that can increase my cultivation this time, to prepare for overcoming the bottleneck of the late stage of foundation building. Alas, I, an unfilial descendant, have to sell off my ancestors' things again. The reason why Liu Jing felt so urgent was entirely due to the influence of the evil foundation building cultivator Zhu Liaodi. Although this man was extremely evil, he was also a hero, but he had no way to deal with the bottleneck of the late stage of foundation building, and was trapped for nearly 100 years. My ambition is to break through the giant stage and glorify the family. I must not stop at the middle stage of foundation building. Thinking of this, there was no hesitation on his face. The ancestral property I sold today will be returned to the family tenfold after I have formed a pill. Chapter 24 The Taste of the Trade Fair. Although it was called a private trade fair, Liu Jing brought Luo Hong to the largest auction housed in the market. There were many cultivators coming in and out of the takeaway shop at this time, so there was no privacy at all. Perhaps seeing Luo Hong's doubts, Liu Jing gave him a general explanation. The original initiator of the trade fair was a late-stage foundation building cultivator in Huangfeng Valley who was very sociable. His original intention was just to make it easier for his friends to exchange goods with each other, and he did not set any rules that must be kept secret. This person's friends are not only spread across the 7 sects of Yu State, but also have old acquaintances in the neighboring Yuanwu State, so the chance of good things appearing at the trade fair is much greater than that of ordinary auction houses. His friends got the benefits, and they often brought their friends with them when they came next time. After several rounds of trade fairs, the scale has reached a level that is impossible to hide. Therefore, this person simply put the trade fair in the open and entrusted it to the auction house to hold. He only needs to host it every time to get a lot of money. Foundation building cultivation is the basic requirement for entering the auction house during the trade fair, but each foundation building cultivator can bring one person in. Liu Jing and Luo Hong were led to a private seat by the mortal maids in the auction house. After they were served with spiritual tea, they stood quietly by the side. Luo Hong looked around and saw that there were similar private seats all around, fan-shaped around a high platform in the center. There are a lot more people this year. Liu Jing silently counted the foundation establishment cultivators who had taken seats. So far, there were nearly 100 people, 40% of whom were disciples of the Yellow Maple Valley, occupying a large area. Hearing the displeasure in Liu Jing's tone, Luo Hong wisely did not respond. After drinking tea silently for a long time, the trade fair finally began. The door of the venue was closed, and runes lit up on the walls around it, which actually opened a powerful formation. Then, a foundation establishment late-stage cultivator with a kind face and a hearty voice stepped onto the stage. After he stepped onto the stage, he skillfully made a joke with a few old friends to liven up the atmosphere of the venue, and then talked about business. There are many new faces this year. Our rules remain the same. We will first conduct the spiritual stone trading part in the form of an auction, and then let the Taoist friends who want to barter come on stage one by one. Let's not talk too much, let's get started. The first item is the top level magic weapon Kingayan sword. Luo Hong put down his teacup and rubbed his nose. This opening remark was really too authentic. Nephew Luo, aren't you in need of an offensive magic weapon? This Kingayan sword is just right for your water-based skills. It can increase its power a lot when you use it. Why don't you try to bid? Liu Jing's suggestion was entirely for Luo Hong's sake. Although this Kingayan sword is a top-level magic weapon, judging from its aura, it is not a top-level magic weapon. Most of the foundation building cultivators present would not bid, and it was a good opportunity for Luo Hong and other key refining cultivators to make a move. Thank you for your reminder, uncle, but I don't have many spirit stones. I would rather use them to exchange for some spiritual objects that can help me cultivate than to use them for the magic tools that are brave and aggressive. Luo Hong is currently only interested in the magic tools that can fly in the air with incredible speed. Other things are not enough to seduce him to show off his wealth. You are right. It's up to you. Although Liu Jing has a good impression of Luo Hong, he does not think that a cultivator with a pseudo-spiritual root can successfully build a foundation. He thinks that instead of spending spirit stones on elixirs, Luo Hong might as well buy 1 or 2 top-level magic tools to pass on to future generations. However, seeing that Luo Hong was very determined, Liu Jing could not bear to discourage him and did not say much. After several rounds of bidding, the King Iron Sword was sold at an inflated price of 350 spirit stones and was won by the female cultivator in the key refining stage of a pair of dual cultivation Taoist partners from the Giant Sword sect. The next 2 items were also top-level magic tools, but this time they were the best among the top-level magic tools, so they were fought over by the cultivators in the foundation establishment stage, and finally they were sold for more than 600 spirit stones. The next lot has a bit of history. Please take a look. This gourd is called the Jade Dragon Gourd. It is a treasure made by a giant unstage cultivator using the spirit bones of a 4th level water dragon. Not only can the space inside it hold a lake of water, but it also has the magical power to refine ordinary water into spiritual water. This is a very rare treasure. The kind-looking old man held up a medium-sized, pure white gourd with only a few stripes to show to the crowd. However, before he could say the starting price, someone in the audience made a dissenting voice. TSK, can this be considered a treasure? It's just a small bottle that can hold more. The spirit bones of the 4th level water dragon are rare spiritual materials, but after being burned by the Dan fire of a giant unstage cultivator, even remelting and remaking them has become a luxury. And the magical power to make spiritual water, can that thing really be drunk? A rude man from the Spirit Beast Mountain spoke bluntly and criticized the Jade Dragon Gourd as worthless. But what he said did make some sense, and most people nodded silently after listening. Fellow Daoist from Spiritual Beast Mountain, please be careful with your words. You should know that the Daoist who is selling this treasure is in the venue. Be careful of what you say. The kind-looking old man felt that the Jade Dragon Gourd might not be sold because of the nonsense the rough man had given him, so he warned him coldly. Misunderstanding. I'm not targeting that Daoist. I'm a straightforward person. To express my apology, I'm willing to pay the starting price to buy this gourd. A cunning look flashed across the eyes of the rude man from Spiritual Beast Mountain. The Jade Dragon Gourd was of great use to him. His family has been cultivating a kind of spiritual insect called bone-eating flying ant for generations. If it can be fed with the spiritual bones of a 4th level water dragon, it is very likely to have the opportunity to advance. The kind-looking old man was stunned when he heard this, but he soon realized that he was being used and immediately looked at the rude man with even more disgust. HMPH, the starting price is 300 lingxi. Are you sure you want to buy it? How can it be so high? The starting price of those top-level magic tools in front is only 200 lingxi. This is just a useless water gourd. How can it be higher than the starting price of top-level magic tools? The rude man glared and wanted to bargain with the kind-looking old man. The starting price of this treasure is 300 lingxi. Don't you believe me? The kind-looking old man's eyes gradually turned cold, and the powerful aura of the late foundation building cultivation slowly pressed towards the rude man who only had the early foundation building cultivation. Okay, 300 is 3. The rude man pretended to be heartbroken and was about to make a deal with the kind-looking old man, but he heard a sudden offer from the back. Wait, I'm willing to pay 301 lingxi to help this senior. Luo Hong's voice was clearly heard by every cultivator in the venue, and there was a scramble, and everyone became interested in the Jade Dragon Gourd again. Junior brother Luo, you don't have to be like this. Liu Jing's expression was indescribable. He was moved, but also a little ashamed, and angry but also a little entangled. Chapter 25 Jade Dragon Gourd. The Jade Dragon Gourd was the ancestral heritage that Liu Jing sold. The reason why it was so useless was because it was a magic weapon that failed to be refined. Except for the material that was close to the magic weapon level, it did not have the power of magic weapon at all. Even so, Liu Jing could not stand the rude man from the Spirit Beast Mountain saying so badly about it, and he could not stand him buying the Jade Dragon good in a way that was like charity. This is an insult to my Liu family. I would rather wait another 10 years than sell the Jade Dragon good to him. After a moment of hesitation, just when Liu Jing made up his mind to take back the Jade Dragon good, Luo Hong suddenly shouted out the price. Liu Jing just thought that Luo Hong wanted to help him, and his mood was very complicated for a while. Uncle Liu, don't worry. I bid because I really want this precious good, not to flatter you. Since the auction of the Jade Dragon good started, Liu Jing's expression has been wrong. Luo Hong was sitting next to him, taking in everything. How could he not guess the relationship between the Jade Dragon good and Liu Jing? You little brat, are you teasing me? Luo Hong's interference ruined the rude man's plan for no reason. He looked at Luo Hong with a sinister look. Humph, is this Taoist friend threatening my disciples of Huangfeng Valley? Liu Jing glared back without any courtesy, exuding the aura of mid-stage foundation building cultivator. Of course not. I just doubt whether this young friend can come up with so many spirit stones. This rude man is not an easy person to deal with. He is also known for his ruthlessness in Lingshao Mountain. If a key refining stage disciple of Lingshao Mountain bumped into him, he would definitely die. At this moment, he was so silent because dozens of Huangfeng Valley's foundation building stage cultivators around him cast unfriendly eyes. Even a person like him who was used to being arrogant couldn't help but feel scared. As your uncle, I will guarantee the spiritual stones. If you don't want to bid, please sit down. Liu Jing made up his mind that if nephew Luo didn't have enough spiritual stones, he would lend as much as he needed. Humph. You Huangfeng Valley are so arrogant. You are raising the price maliciously. Are you trying to bully customers? The one who spoke was a female cultivator in the late key refining stage of Yanyu sect. Her voice was ordinary, but the harshness in her tone made everyone present frown. Luo Hong turned his head and saw two female cultivators in white palace clothes sitting at the same table. One of them was playing with a crystal ball in her hand and looking at him with a playful face. Her face was fierce, and she was obviously an unreasonable tigress. The other one was in the late foundation building stage. She wore a white gauze scarf on her face. Her gestures made people feel like they were in the spring breeze. The two people had completely different temperaments, but could sit at the same table. I don't know why. What? You can't speak. The mean female cultivator was immediately smug when she saw that the cultivators of the Yellow Maple Valley did not respond to her provocation. Among the 7 sects of U State, the strength of the Yellow Maple Valley in the other 5 sects was not much different. Only the Yanyu sect was not a match for any of the 6 sects alone. Only by joining forces could they compete with 1 or 2. People from the 6 sects were often warned by their elders not to provoke the disciples of the Yanyu sect at will, so all the cultivators present were afraid. Even if they were angry, they would not be stupid enough to be the first to stand out. My fellow Taoist, you don't need to doubt my motives. I'm determined to get this treasure. If you are interested, please make an offer. Luo Hong did not expect to meet a female cultivator with such a bad personality. This matter could be said to be caused by him. Others could avoid it, but he could not. Oh, you are determined to win? You are so arrogant. I will offer 350 spiritual stones. I will offer 351 spiritual stones. 400 spiritual stones. 401 spiritual stones. Boy, you dare to make fun of me? Do you know that my ancestor is a giant and stage elder of Yanyu sect? As soon as these words came out, the cultivators present, whether they were indignant or just watching the fun, all turned their eyes away. Judging from the arrogant temper of this female cultivator, her giant ancestor must have spoiled her a lot. Being targeted by such a little ancestor is definitely not a good thing. Luo Hong also hesitated. Just when she was about to ask Liu Jing about his attitude, his sonorous voice came from behind. Master Li Huoyuan, I wonder which senior disciple of Yanyu sect is this? Liu Jing was not asking about the mean female cultivator. As a key refining stage cultivator, she would never be able to become a disciple of a giant and stage cultivator without amazing qualifications. Master, Fairy Chicksha, please forgive me for what my nephew has done to me. After Liu Jing announced Li Huoyuan's name, the veiled female cultivator who was in the foundation building stage finally couldn't keep her attitude of not caring about it. She politely announced her master, and then said softly to the mean woman, "Don't make trouble. Sit down." The woman's voice was as gentle as water, and Luo Hong and Liu Jing's hearts softened. Their anger was reduced by 7 points. She is naturally charming. This woman has a great charm skill. Luo Hong and Liu Jing couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts when they noticed the changes in themselves. Although the mean female cultivator looked reluctant, she didn't disobey after all. She just glared at Luo Hong fiercely before sitting down obediently. Luo Hong secretly groaned in his heart. This woman must have a grudge against him. He hoped that fairy Chicksha would not be so bored as to run to Huangfeng Valley to cause trouble for a descendant of the key refining stage. Looking at the rude man from the Spirit Beast Mountain, he originally wanted to join the fight, but after hearing that both sides wanted to have a giant on-stage cultivator as a backer, he had to sit down in dismay and try to reduce his presence. Like the auction items that were auctioned off before, the Jade Dragon Good was delivered to the elegant seat where Luo Hong and the others were by a young maid in the early stage of key refining. At this time, in order not to show off his wealth, Luo Hong deliberately controlled the corners of his mouth to twitch slightly twice, and then poured out 401 spiritual stones from the storage bag. Looking at the Jade Dragon Good in his hand, and feeling its cool touch, Luo Hong was secretly happy in his heart. The magical power of this treasure, to refine ordinary water into spiritual water, would be of great use to him. Nephew Luo, I will definitely compensate you for the spiritual stones you lost this time in the near future. Liu Jing really thought that Luo Hong was distressed about the spiritual stones, so he felt even more ashamed. Uncle Master, you don't have to do this. I really want to buy it myself. If I can swallow the spiritual water when practicing the water-based exercises, the speed of practice will definitely increase. This. Liu Jing hesitated, then lowered his voice and said, "It is true that the Jade Dragon Good has the magical power to refine spiritual water, but it takes a very long time. Even if my nephew only pours ordinary water from a normal wine pot, it will take several days to turn into spiritual water. It is used to assist in practice, and the effect is minimal. Well, but after all, the materials used are precious, so it is reasonable to sell it for 300 spiritual stones." Seeing that Luo Hong was stunned, Liu Jing thought he had realized how much he had lost, and he was more determined to make some compensation. "I made a lot of money." Who knew that Luo Hong's thoughts were completely opposite to Liu Jing's guess? "I'm worried that the speed of refining ordinary water into spiritual water is too fast. Now it is the most convenient to observe." End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.